Order number 9, motion, consideration of the budget estimates for the financial year 2026-2027. General debate, first allotted day.
Chairperson, Business and Appropriations Committee.
Thank you very much, the Honorable Speaker. And I want to thank the House for exempting the business that should have appeared this morning to allow the Budget and Appropriations Committee to be able to execute the budget estimates for this financial year. Honorable Speaker, let me move that, that this House adopts the report of the Budget and Appropriations Committee on its consideration of the estimates of revenue and expenditure and the medium term for the financial year 2026-2027, laid on the table of the House on Tuesday, 2nd June 2026, and pursuant to the provisions of Article 221 of the Constitution, Section 39 of the PFM Act, Cap 412A, and Standing Order 239, 1, approves the issuance of a sum of 2,930,216,013,184 from the consolidated fund to meet the expenditure during the year ending 30th June 2027 in respect of the votes contained in the first schedule to the order paper, subject to paragraph 3, that is Committee of Supply. 2, makes the policy and financial resolutions contained in the second and the third schedules to the order paper. And 3, orders that the Speaker do now leave the chair to facilitate the consideration of the said budget estimates with respect to each vote and programs in the Committee of Supply as contemplated under Standing Order 240, that is consideration of the estimates in the Committee of Supply. Honorable Speaker, before I make my remarks, I would like first of all to thank the House. The entire House participated in the execution of this budget. Honorable Speaker, when we were going through the budget process, I was very, very excited with the manner in which the entire House participated in the budget process. Honorable Speaker, you know very well that this time of the year, members are very, very busy with their constituents in respect for the campaign that are coming up. But Honorable Speaker, all members were involved. In fact, when I went through the committee reports, and which were presented to us by the chairman of various departmental committees, I noted the active participation of members. I also would like to thank the members of the Budget and Appropriations Committee who took all their time and participated in the execution of the budget. Honorable Speaker, the attendance was surprising. Even for my members, I had about 99% of attendance during the budget process. I would also want to thank the leadership of the Parliament, including the clerk, and members of staff who always assist us when we are engaging in these processes. Honorable Speaker, I would like to confirm that for this time, we endeavor to reflect the changes that were made by the departmental committees. And members will appreciate if they go through this report that the report contains most of the changes that were recommended. There are a few cases, Honorable Speaker, that based on the consultation that we normally have to do with the National Treasury after the committees have made their changes, that a few of them were declined. But largely, I would like to confirm that about 99% of the recommendations from committees were accepted. Honorable Speaker, having said that, I would like to take this opportunity now to make a few highlights. First of all, Honorable Speaker, let me say that we are processing these budgets at a time when there is heightened domestic and global uncertainty, characterized by geopolitical tensions, slowing global growth. Honorable Speaker, IMF and World Bank have already revised global growth for 2026 from a high of 4.5. The outlook now reflects 3.1%, the global growth outlook. Even here globally, Honorable Speaker, we have now revised our own growth projection from 5.3% to 5%. And Honorable Speaker, members understand the reason why this is happening. We are having the global oil crisis, which has actually affected us in some ways. We have seen our inflation going up by a high of, in the last 1 month, by 1%. Honorable Speaker, I would like to add that despite all these projected challenges, global challenges and local challenges, this budget endeavors to sustain that economic growth, support productive sectors, protect vulnerable households, and accelerate the implementation of the better, that is bottom-up economic transformation agenda. Honorable Speaker, you realize that this House recently, in an attempt to caution Kenyans against fuel-related inflation, the government recently implemented a reduction in the VAT for fuel from 16% to 8%. Honorable Speaker, this has been very, very important step towards cushioning Kenyans. But however, it has an implication in the projected revenues which we had passed when we were processing the BPS. Consequently, Honorable Speaker, the total budget estimates for the next financial year, 2026-2027, is 4.850 trillion. 4.850 trillion. And Honorable Speaker, this budget is divided as follows. Total national government expenditure would be 2.898 trillion. Parliament's projection is 50.98 trillion. Judiciary will get 30.3. Sorry, Parliament will get 50.98 billion. Judiciary will get 30.3 billion. Honorable Speaker, we project devolution to receive for 495.5 billion. This will include county shareable allocations as well as the usual national government transfers to counties. Honorable Speaker, I would like to say that this budget, the 2026-2027 budget policy framework, is anchored on accelerating gains made under bottom-up economic agenda for inclusive growth and sustainable growth. Honorable Speaker, we also have to say that there is Vision 2030, which is properly aligned with this budget. And we project, Honorable Speaker, that key sectors will receive enhanced allocations. For example, Honorable Speaker, in this budget, 379.5 billion has been earmarked for programs under better, that is finance and production, infrastructure, social sector, land and natural resources, and governance and public administration. Honorable Speaker, now let me highlight for you the exact allocations for each sector. Honorable Speaker, the education sector will receive the largest allocation of 781.3 billion. Honorable Speaker, as usual, we normally allocate over 30% of our budget to education. Again, this year, we have equally done the same, and this enhancement will be utilized as follows. One, TSC will receive 406.6 billion. 56.7 billion will go to Higher Education Loans Board. 54.6 billion will go to free day secondary school. 30.0 billion will go to junior secondary school and capitation. 7.7 billion will go for free primary education. 30.9 billion will go for scholarship for university students. And Honorable Speaker, let me add that these allocations are expected to strengthen our human capital for the country and equipping young people with knowledge and skills required to help in the participating in our economy, modern economy. Honorable Speaker, let me now move to infrastructure. Honorable Speaker, the road sector alone has been allocated 228 billion. Honorable Speaker, these funds will be used to support construction, rehabilitation, and maintenance of roads and bridges across the country. Honorable Speaker, the transport sector has been allocated 51.8 billion, and these funds will be used for railway development, railway modernization, rapid rapid transit systems, airport upgrades, logistics hubs, ferry services, and development of standard gauge railways, SGR. Major transport projects include 20.8 billion for SGR phase 2B and 2C, Kenya Shillings 4.2 billion for Dongo Kundu Special Economic Zone, and 3.8 billion for flood mitigation works. Further, manufacturing and industrial sector has been allocated 19.2 billion to stimulate industrial growth, improve competitiveness, and support value addition, and also to create jobs. Honorable Speaker, these investments are expected to reduce the cost of doing business and strengthen Kenya's position as a regional trade and logistics hubs. Honorable Speaker, let me now move to the health sector. The health sector is allocated 175.5 billion, and these funds will be used to strengthen universal health coverage, improve primary healthcare services, and to expand specialized healthcare infrastructure. Key allocations include 20.9 billion for Kenya Medical KEMSA, 19.1 billion for primary healthcare, Fund and 18.8 billion for Kenyatta National Hospital, 18.5 billion for Global Fund for HIV, malaria, and TB programs, and 8.9 billion for UHC health workers. Honorable Speaker, I want to add that the primary health care, which is one of the most important anchors for universal health care, has continued to receive increased allocations year in, year out. In this financial year, the year which we are about to end, the primary health care received about 13.5 billion. This has now been enhanced to 19.1 billion. But globally, Honorable Speaker, it's important to note that in order for us to fully cover primary health care, we need an allocation of about 28 billion. We are determined to enhance this allocation, Honorable Speaker, and if resources, if we be able to collect, KRA is able to collect more resources in the year, I want to promise that this committee, this House will be ready to enhance this allocation to the expected, to the required, to the estimated requirements. Honorable Speaker, now let me move to the housing and urban development. Honorable Speaker, housing and urban development has been allocated 138.2 billion, and this will be used to support one affordable housing program, which will receive 110 billion, urban infrastructure, informal settlements, upgrading. Major allocations also include 50.7 billion to construction of affordable housing units, 20.9 billion for social housing, 18.6 billion for Kenya Urban Program, known as KENUP, and 2.7 billion for the Kenya Informal Settlement Program, KSIP. These programs are donor-funded programs, Honorable Speaker, and these programs have been implemented in counties across the country. I think each and every county has a program, has a KSIP and a KENUP program. Honorable Speaker, under Environment and Natural Resources, we have allocated 112.4 billion to support water, infrastructure, irrigation, forest conservation, climate resilience, wildlife management, and Honorable Speaker, significant allocations include 47 billion for water and sewerage infrastructure development, 15.1 billion for wildlife conservation and management, and 14.4 billion for forest conservation, 8.9 billion for financing local climate action, FLOCA. Honorable Speaker, FLOCA is one of the major donor-funded programs by a group of donors, including World Bank. And this program has brought a lot of reforms in the water and climate environment sectors. Honorable Speaker, every county in this country is implementing this program, and I can confirm that in my county, this program has done very well to support environment and water programs. Honorable Speaker, under agriculture, we have allocated 63 billion to support agriculture and food security, and this includes 18 billion for fertilizer subsidy, 2 billion for seed subsidy, 5.4 billion for food resilience project, 4.7 billion for natural agricultural value chain development, NAVCDP, and 3.3 billion for pastoral resilience initiatives. Honorable Speaker, fertilizer subsidy remains one of the major important anchors for our agricultural performance. Each year, this Parliament has been allocating resources for fertilizer subsidy, and I want to confirm that in this year, that allocation has equally been enhanced. Honorable Speaker, this is one of the allocations that has done very well for us. The country right now does not have sufficient food that has been produced courtesy of this allocation. I want to say that this is sufficient allocation, and it will help in improving our agricultural performance. Honorable Speaker, now let me move to agro-processing. Honorable Speaker, you know that this House has been appropriating resources for a program known as KIPES. That KIPES is supposed to be implemented in all counties, and it is a collaboration between national government and county governments. Over the years, we have now completed about 15 KIPES. In this financial year, Honorable Speaker, we have not allocated resources for development of new KIPES, but what we have are resources that's going to be used to equip those KIPES that have already been constructed and completed. Because we want to ensure that these KIPES can now be turned into centers for innovation, centers for job creation. So, Honorable Speaker, we have allocated 2.45 billion for equipping and operationalization of 15 county aggregation industrial KIPES in counties where both the national government and county governments have fulfilled their respective counterpart funding. Honorable Speaker, I also want to say that there are some counties where the national government has already fulfilled their counterpart funding, but the counties have refused to do their part. Now, those ones, the department committee in charge of trade have assured me that they are going to ensure that they engage those counties to see whether we can be able to fund them in future. But for now, we want to focus more in equipping and modernizing the already completed KIPES. Honorable Speaker, to support women and youth empowerment, we have allocated 61.8 billion to National Youth Service, 10.4 billion for Kenya Devolution Support Program, 22.6 billion for youth programs, over 2.21 billion for internship programs, and 4.7 billion for the National Youth Opportunity Towards Achievement. That is NYOTA program. A further 8.8 billion has been provided for affordable credit to SMEs. These programs are intended to empower vulnerable groups, create economic opportunities, and strengthen inclusive socio-economic development. Honorable Speaker, all members are aware of NYOTA, and this is a program which was designed and has been implemented and championed by the President himself. I want to confirm, Honorable Speaker, that NYOTA program has been game-changing. In Mount County, Honorable Speaker, I know many women groups, many youth groups that have benefited from this program, and it's actually changing lives. So the additional resources that we are applying in this financial year is going to be used to further enhance the program and ensure that those groups that received more resources and they are growing, they will be able to receive further allocations. Honorable Speaker, to improve digital access, strengthen e-governance, and create job opportunities with the digital economy, we have allocated 10.5 billion to support digital transformation, expansion of digital connectivity, cybersecurity systems, and development of digital hubs. Honorable Speaker, in this sector, we have allocated 5.3 billion for Kenya Digital Economic Acceleration Project, 1.5 billion for last mile connectivity, 382 million for digital spyware cybersecurity interventions. Honorable Speaker, these are very, very important interventions and allocations, which are important for creating jobs, job opportunities, and also strengthen our e-government services. Honorable Speaker, to support our national security, the national security has been allocated 566.9 billion, and this will be used to strengthen defense, policing, intelligence services, correctional services, and internal security administration. Honorable Speaker, key allocations include 250 billion for defense, 144.4 billion for National Police Service, 58.6 billion for National Intelligence Service, and for 2.7 billion for prison and correctional services. Honorable Speaker, these investments, first of all, Honorable Speaker, the security of our country is something which this House should never compromise on. Honorable Speaker, my committee is aware that this is one of the most priority allocations that we must give to ensure that our country is safe. Before we even engage in any production, Honorable Speaker, we must be sure that this country is safe. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, this allocation, even though not satisfactory, are going to support the security sector to ensure that the country is safe and that Kenyans can be able to move around and do their businesses. Honorable Speaker, in conclusion, I would like to say that this budget underscores our commitment to inclusive transformation, economic resilience, fiscal responsibility, and sustainable development. Honorable Speaker, one thing that I want to highlight here is that we have endeavored to ensure that this budget touches each and every corner of this country. This is, again, the second budget under the broad-based government that has been processed to ensure that each and every section of the country, they receive their fair share of development. Honorable Speaker, we have programs under water, we have programs under irrigation, we have programs under roads, electricity, and these programs have been designed to affect each and every section of the country without ignoring any. So, Honorable Speaker, I want to urge members to support these estimates so that we can be able to move quickly and process the estimates. And before the end of the financial year, the estimates would have been signed into law, and therefore Kenyans will be able to continue to receive services. Honorable Speaker, with those many remarks, I would like to finish and I would like to move and request the Honorable Vice Chairman of Budget and Appropriations Committee, Honorable Bukose, to second.
Bukose.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and thank you, my chair, for moving this report on the estimates for the revenue and expenditure for the financial year 2026, 2027, and the medium term. Honorable Speaker, just want to join my chair in thanking the various chairs of the committees for the submissions they made before our committee. And I also want to thank members of the Budget and Appropriation Committee for staying throughout all the presentations that they were made, and for spending more of their time to make sure that they have gone through these budget estimates. Honorable Speaker, in this budget, it is looked into all the sectors, and for the first time, Honorable Speaker, the committee approved 3.5 billion for stipends to the village elders. I think this is a right move in the right direction. Village elders have never been given anything before that. And we are hoping that with this budget now, the NGAO, the National Government Administrative, will be able to pay stipends of 3,000 to the village elders. And we are hoping that this is just a start. Subsequently, we'll be able to increase that amount. But starting with this, I think all the village elders in Kenya will now be able to smile and get something to start with. I know it might not be enough, but it is a start. And you know, my chair was making a comment and saying, now the village elders should think that they should now be part of the broad-based government and support the government of the day. And I think that is thanks to this government that it has considered them. Honorable Speaker, in this budget also, we've seen that there is money for UHC workers, and we are hoping that when we retreat, maybe in the mediation, we will be able to agree with our counterparts in the Senate to make sure that the UHC workers who have been working in counties for a long time are now able to be absorbed as permanent and pensionable. And this is what they've been looking forward to all this time, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, this is a budget that is coming during very difficult times, where we have the war in the Middle East between the US and Iran. And we want to thank the Cabinet Secretary for the National Treasury for having appeared and shed light. We also want to thank Honorable Ndindi Nyoro for appearing before our committee and giving his suggestions, which the committee also was able to listen to. We considered, and some of them we found that when we consulted with the Treasury, they are not workable. I think some of the proposals are actually populism, that we think there is good for hearing, but it's not workable. Because when you suggest that you remove even 2 billion from CDF, remove another VAT, it just translates to around 8 billion, which I don't think is is anything that will be able to assist in bringing down the fuel prices. Honorable Speaker, this budget is also, we are hoping that most of whatever variations that will occur will be absorbed as per our law by the national government. Because in the division of revenue bill, Honorable Speaker, you realize that there is 420 billion that will go to the counties. And we hope that the counties will be able to spend that money and use it for development and make a difference to the counties. Honorable Speaker, we've seen that we have also in the national government given support to the counties through supporting of the health infrastructure, support of the boreholes in various places, schools, and also in areas that especially arid and semi-arid areas where our people are not able to access clean and safe water. So in this, that goes also as a support to the counties in this budget. Honorable Speaker, We've also seen that in the housing department, they've set money for food bridges. And these food bridges will make it accessible for most of our people within some very difficult areas. Our committee also conducted public participation, and we went to 26 counties within the Republic. There are issues that were raised, especially among the youths, in issues about the Youth Enterprise Fund, where they want the Youth Enterprise Fund to at least be domiciled in every sub-county so that it makes it easier for our youths to be able to access these services. Road infrastructure became one of the key areas where many of the Kenyans pointed out, where they want to have accessible and tarmac roads. They also want to have electricity. And in this budget, Honorable Speaker, we've seen that they've also given money for REREC to make sure that key and critical facilities are able to get power through having transformers, having last mile connectivity, and making sure that there is lighting to most of our areas. So, Honorable Speaker, with those few remarks, Honorable Speaker, I want to second and hope that the Honorable House members will be able to support this budget estimate 2026-2027. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Very well. Honorable members, allow me to propose a question that this House adopts the report of the Budget and Appropriations Committee on its consideration of the estimates of revenue and expenditure and the medium term for the financial year 2026-2027, laid on the table of the House on Tuesday, 2nd June 2026, and pursuant to the provisions of Article 221 of the Constitution, Section 39 of the Public Finance Management Act, Cap 412A, and Standing Order 239, 1, approve the issuance of a sum of Kenya shillings 2,930,216,013,184 from the Consolidated Fund to meet the expenditure during the year ending 30th June 2027 in respect of the votes contained in the first schedule of the order paper, subject to paragraph 2, Committee of Supply. Number 2, makes the policy and financial resolutions contained in the second and third schedules of the order paper. And number 3, orders as the Speaker do now leave the chair to facilitate the consideration of the said budget estimates with respect to each vote and program in the Committee of Supply as contemplated under Standing Order 240, consideration of estimates in the Committee of Supply. Makali Mulu.
Yeah, thank you so much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I really appreciate this opportunity to also make some comments in relation to the 2026-2027 annual budget, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, my chairman and the vice chairman have talked more about the figures, and the only figure they have not mentioned, which I would want to mention, Honorable Speaker, for purposes of policy level, is the public debt. In the budget, Honorable Speaker, the public debt this year is going to be 1.11 trillion. So, Honorable Speaker, you realize that it is the first year in the history of Kenya that public debt has crossed the 1 trillion mark. And if you look at the report which was tabled by the Committee on Public Debt and Privatization, Honorable Speaker, this matter as a country we need to pay a lot of attention on in terms of how to manage this particular public debt. Looking at the figure, Honorable Speaker, of above 1.1 trillion in terms of borrowing, Honorable Speaker, you realize in terms of consolidated fund services expenditure, Honorable Speaker, it has also moved to about 1.15. And out of that figure, Honorable Speaker, interest alone is 1.11 trillion. So you can see, Honorable Speaker, we are paying a lot of money in terms of interest. And what this has done, Honorable Speaker, it actually makes our fiscal space be very limiting. So that's one of the challenges we are facing as a country, that our fiscal space is so restricted to an extent that then you don't have a lot of resources, Honorable Speaker, to spend in terms of taking care of needs of the country. Honorable Speaker, the other matter which I think is critical is the issue of pending bills. This matter as a House, we have discussed about it for many, many times, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, there are two areas I would want to mention relating to pending bills. One of the reasons is that the main cause of pending bills across the sectors and from our interaction with the sectors is that the exchequer release, Honorable Speaker. That we are budgeting, but when it comes to the actual money being released to the MDS to do the work, there's a challenge. And what that has done, Honorable Speaker, it has pushed the pending bills to be very high. And it's time we started also a serious discourse on pending bills. What happens, Honorable Speaker, when you have such a huge pending bills in a country like ours, then you stifle the economy in terms of growth, that money is not really in circulation, and as a result of that, then not many economic activities are happening. And when you are talking about projecting high economic growth, and at the same time having high pending bills, Honorable Speaker, that does it much well. So it's important we address this matter. The other matter, Honorable Speaker, which is also important, and we have picked from our discussion with the departments, is that we have so many uncompleted projects all over the country, Honorable Speaker. And we have been saying, if we really want to help this country, instead of having so many uncompleted projects, and when it comes to budgeting, we spread all the resources thinly to all the uncompleted projects. I think it's time, Honorable Speaker, we started now identifying projects with huge impact to the economy. We'll complete them, and if we phase them out, over time we can actually be able to complete all these projects, and then Kenyans will be able to get value for money, and we'll be able to improve the lives of our people. The other matter, Honorable Speaker, which is critical is, if you look at the budget, Honorable Speaker, the Auditor General has been allocated about 9 billion, Honorable Speaker. And what has happened over the years, the Office of the Auditor General has been generating very important reports with very important recommendations. I think it's time, Honorable Speaker, we started tying Auditor General's recommendations with the budget making process. So that, Honorable Speaker, those accounting officers who have been singled out to be either misapplying or engaged in corruption do not continue benefiting from additional resources, while those who have applied their resources well, Honorable Speaker, are not getting enough resources. And Honorable Speaker, that's why I'm saying, even at the county level, as you look at the formula for allocation of resources to county level, it is important, Honorable Speaker, we reintroduce the part of fiscal discipline as a factor in determining how much a county gets. In that case, Honorable Speaker, we improve use of resources and we'll be able to help the country. The other issue which is critical, Honorable Speaker, and this really continues really becoming a challenge in this country, is the issue to ensure that we mainstream equity issues in the budget making. So that, Honorable Speaker, when we are talking about budgeting, that all parts of this country, there will be seen to be equity, and not even being seen to be equity, Honorable Speaker. Equity is also being practiced in the budget making process. A lot of our colleagues, Honorable Speaker, will keep on complaining that they are not getting resources to their respective areas. And I think it's time, as a country, we deliberately, Honorable Speaker, start talking about equity. Honorable Speaker, you are likely to realize that as you continue this debate, don't be surprised to see some honorable members complaining that their regions have not gotten any money. And where they have even gotten money, Honorable Speaker, a time will come when through supplementary budgets, those resources are also removed. So, Honorable Speaker, what am I recommending? I'm recommending that, Honorable Speaker, from the word go, we look at equity issues at the time we are making our budget. And even when money has been put, Honorable Speaker, we try as much as possible to protect reduction of these resources through supplementary budgets, ensuring that equity is there. Honorable Speaker, I want to give you an example. If you look at the budget for Konza City now, and I want to thank the budget committee and the department in charge of Konza City, they have actually put a lot of resources for Konza City to make that this city becomes operational. And this is a very good decision, Honorable Speaker, because Konza City, once it becomes fully operational, is supposed to transform this economy in many ways. That being the case, Honorable Speaker, over the years, at the level of annual estimates, we put resources for Konza City. But during supplementary budgets, we reduce all of that budget. So at the end of the day, you find you had very good intentions at the start, but towards the end, you can't implement those intentions because the budget has been reduced, Honorable Speaker. The other point, Honorable Speaker, I wanted to talk about is what I was saying, Honorable Speaker, is the issue of the contingency funds. If you look at the contingency funds, and you're remembering what the chairman said, Honorable Speaker, this year, the budget is being prepared under very strict external conditions, Honorable Speaker, looking at what's happening out there, the war in the Middle East, and so many other external factors, Honorable Speaker, it means that we must be very disciplined the way we use our money. And that being the case, Honorable Speaker, there is need then to provide much more resources to take care of any emergency contingencies, Honorable Speaker. Because when things work the way they are likely to work, Honorable Speaker, we are likely to face a lot of local challenges, what we call local emergencies. And that being the case, we can only address such emergencies through the contingency fund, Honorable Speaker. So we have now reduced from 5 billion to 2 billion. So in case there is improvement in the revenue collection, Honorable Speaker, this is an area I think we need to push slightly much more money so that we help the country. Honorable Speaker, we are putting resources in quite a number of sectors. But still, I think these sectors, we need to focus on them so that in case we get additional resources, Honorable Speaker, we take care of them. The first area is capitation, Honorable Speaker. We are still facing challenges. The second one, Honorable Speaker, is health issues. We are still having serious challenges with health issues. We need to think about putting more resources. The other issue is education, more so examination department, Honorable Speaker, where our people are supervising exams, but they're not being paid for those services. So we need to improve our national examination allocation. The other issue, Honorable Speaker, is the money for elders. You really want to appreciate. Honorable Speaker, you and me, we have been in this house for long. And you remember every year there is a motion about giving some stipend to the village elders. I'm so happy that this is the first budget. We have now put resources so that we appreciate the good work being done by village elders, Honorable Speaker. And I think as time goes, Honorable Speaker, and if the resources allow, it's time we also think of improving the stipend as time goes. The last point, Honorable Speaker, is revenue collection. We are realizing very low revenue collection, Honorable Speaker, and KRA needs to up their game. We have given them resources so that they are able to up their game. I hope the resources which have been given to KRA, Honorable Speaker, will be utilized properly so that we collect enough money for this country and we reduce our public borrowing, Honorable Speaker. With those many remarks, I support and I thank you for the opportunity, Honorable Speaker. Thank you so much.
Very well. Vice Chair, Administration, Dido Raso.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I rise to support this budget. On the onset, Madam Speaker, we must lay some grounds bare. First of all, this budget must reflect the face of Kenya in terms of resource distribution and creating an equal platform for all Kenyans to participate in the discourse of life. Madam Speaker, I start with the Equalization Fund, which is actually in these budgets, it has been the elephant in the room. For Kenya to be equal, at least every county or every constituency must have some water, must have some hospital, must have some electricity flowing. And in the absence of that, when many Kenyans, because of lack of basic amenities, are not able to participate in the decision-making in this country, then Kenya can never be equal. For that reason, I want to ask the chairman of Budget Committee and his team to look at how best to dispose of with the Equalization Fund so that resources go to where it will help the people. Madam Speaker, I thank the committee for providing resources for the elders. This is really important. The elders at the grassroots play a formidable role in governance, in trying to work on the issues of cohesion, in also trying to ameliorate the issues of conflict at the grassroots. Considering them for something, I think it goes a long way in appreciating that this government understands what aches our people at the ground. Madam Speaker, in many areas, particularly in the area of administration and national security. As a committee, we sat on this budget and considered many areas. For example, you have a lot of expansion in the area of administration, of sub-counties, chiefs, locations, sub-locations, in the area of DOs, administration of SECs. But there isn't commensurate investment in resources to make this happen. For that reason, any place where we have developed an administrative unit, I think it is fair for us to put resources so that a DCC, or a chief, they have resources to work round the clock to provide service to our people, wherever they may be. Madam Speaker, in this budget, I also want to encourage the committee to look at which are the areas that can generate A. For example, a place like the government printer. If we invest in the government printer, that actually does printing of all documents in this country that is required by the government, then it means they are able to cobble up together a lot of resources. And if we give them more allocation, so that in the end, there's no recourse of government printer to the taxpayer or to get resources from the treasury. They'll be self-generating and they'll be moving services, or they'll be working to provide services without asking the National Treasury to give them more resources. Madam Speaker, on this budget, I also see the issue of the ASAL. Unfortunate that, yes, a budget has been done for arid and semi-arid lands. But this is the domain of the Pastoralist Parliamentary Group. This budget is to benefit the people in pastoral areas. But in the absence of engaging the Pastoralist Parliamentary Group, then I think we are just going out there on a limb. And when we see the printed estimate, is when we start asking, why didn't you put this here? Why did you put this particular project here? So to avoid this, I must urge the Budget Committee, any specific or specialized area that has to deal with group of members of parliament from particular regions, then it means we must engage them. And it is important because it is important for the future prosperity of our people. Madam Speaker, on the issue of the State Department for Vocational and Technical Training, you know, we say that this is the future engine growth for this country, together with MSCs. If we are looking at what generates a lot of money today in Kenya, it's actually from the Jua Kali. It's not from the blue or the white collar jobs. So if we want this country to take off, if we want Kenya to be an middle income country or industrialized country by 2030 and beyond, then we must know where to put money. If we are going to allocate resources in the area of youth empowerment, women empowerment, it means we'll be putting resources where our mouth is. Youth is the backbone of this country. The future of this country really depends on how the youth are cultured, engaged, resources, empowered to move forward into the future. In the absence of putting enough resources in youth, then we'll always see them back on the street to complain that there's no employment, there are no jobs, You are not looking after us. And I think as Parliament, we must engage in areas that we know that if we put resources, it will give us a heads up, it will give us a far-reaching thinking that Kenya is really moving forward. Madam Speaker, on the area of education, we say that education is the single equalizer. This is a one-line budget item. My ask is that education must address Kenya across the board, across the face of Kenya, that a child in Marsabit, a child in Kisumu, a child in Mombasa and Nairobi must have equal access to educational resources. If we don't put resources in education with equity across Kenya, then Kenya can never be the same. Kenyans will never move at the same pace. You notice that Kenyans are doing one examination for primary school, for secondary school, and yet there is disparities across this country. I would not accept a child in Marsabit to be disadvantaged because they did not have equal access to a child in Kisumu or Nakuru or Nyeri for that matter. For that reason, Madam Speaker, when the Department of Education, particularly basic education, is going to lay the resources across the face of Kenya, I think if it is a shilling, it must reach everywhere. Finally, Madam Speaker, I come from a livestock region. Livestock, for us, it's everything. It is our economy. Our people depend on the growth of livestock to sustain their lives. Madam Speaker, for too long, as a country, we have not put much resources or much serious thinking in the area of livestock. And that has disadvantaged large swaths of the Kenyan population, particularly in the ASAL and the arid and semi-arid lands. For that reason, there is an opportunity for this government to look at the success of every region in this country will contribute to the national kitty. And to that end, the Livestock Board in the Department of Livestock must be activated, must be resourced, and they must move around the ASAL to make sure that the counties are able to put their little resources into livestock so that the livestock farmers across Kenya can be benefited and they are contributing to the growth of the Kenyan economy. And my final issue is about the ease of doing trade. Recently, during our visit to the Malaba and Busia border post, we saw that across our neighbors, they have good housing. They are well resourced. But when you come on our side, you ask yourself, what is happening? Why are we not putting enough resources? And yet one stop border post is for doing ease of trade across national borders. And for that reason, my request is if the Ugandans or the Ethiopians, the Tanzanians, are able to do something positive on the other side of the border, then the Kenyan side must mirror the same. On the issue of security, I think the chairman has alluded to that point. For Kenya to grow in all the different facets, on the economic front, on the social, on the youth, then Kenya must be secure. Those who secure this country are the National Police Service, the Department of Defense, the National Intelligence Service, the Prison Service. All these people work around the clock to make Kenya a safer place for investment, for Kenyans to go around their day-to-day so that they do their work with ease. For that reason, I think any money that is put in security to secure Kenya is never wasted money. To give police enough vehicles, to give them the right resources in terms of equipping the sort of body protection equipment, their welfare, particularly in the area of housing. There are so many things that we can do that will make our police, that they feel that, yes, Kenyans are looking after us. Let us look after Kenyans. Madam Speaker, with those many, many remarks, I beg to support, and I think the devil is in the detail. Let us reflect deeply on what is in the printed estimate to reflect the face of Kenya in the long run. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Before the next speaker, allow me to recognize in the public gallery schools that are visiting. Number 1, St. Simon Mbui Nzaun School from Kibwezi West, Makueni County. Number 2, St. Joseph International School, Makadara, Nairobi County. And number 3, Lakewood Emerald School from Kajiado East, Kajiado County. Welcome to observe the proceedings of the House. Next person to get the chance to speak is a member for Dagoretti North, Honorable Elachi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, also rise to support, but also to appreciate the work the Budget Committee has done. And to say, indeed, this is now a budget that we normally call a budget that closes the 13th Parliament, Madam Speaker, as we go to our elections. Madam Speaker, when you look at that, one of the things that I will really talk about is on the matter of health, the matter of women empowerment, and a few recommendations that I would wish, when I look at the observations of the committee and their recommendations, and the projections that they have, Madam Speaker, one thing we need to ask ourselves, even as we now close this 13th Parliament, is to look at what we have done, Madam Speaker, as a Parliament, in terms of budget, the challenges we have faced, especially when we come to indeed deal with the finance bill. Madam Speaker, allow me to just bring out a few recommendations. And one of them is that it is important for us as Parliament to demand an explicit alignment of budget allocations, especially on the issues of women economic empowerment. You realize, Madam Speaker, for the last 4 years, we had Uwezo. We had, at one point, we closed Women Fund, and then it started again, and I know women have not really grasped whether we have brought back the Women Fund, because you remember at one point we went complete digital, and it really hurt many of the women who were running these programs. And I'm happy that the government was able to bring it back, and it is important for now the enterprise to go back to the women and ensure that within this budget, we are able to see more women just getting funds for their trade, for their businesses that they were doing, Madam Speaker, and even for their groups that they had. Madam Speaker, the other thing we need to look at is we review the performance and redirect resources towards higher impact programs, and also to look at our health sector. I know we have SHA, I know we have really tried, Madam Speaker, the enrollment, but still, I know it's very low. This House, one of the things we must be doing with this budget is to try our best, even in our NCGDFs, to ensure we register more of our people, those who can't afford to have at least a share that can really stand for those families. And this we must do within this financial year. And Madam Speaker, if we look at the things that the budget is now looking at, I see most of the resources have now gone back to our disciplinary forces. They're the ones taking the higher allocations. We have education, yes. We are hoping that every child, as we go now, will have the chemis, which used to be the NEMIS. We are hoping, so that capitation is done in the correct way. And you find that in some schools today, we still have children who are there, but they don't have capitation because they don't have the chemis or whatever the now government is calling it. I called it NEMIS, I still call it NEMIS. That every child must have capitation so that we find ourselves in every school, that every constituency in this country will appreciate that they receive capitation, especially in the junior secondaries that we have. We want to see also in education the issue of books. Yes, we are giving a whole huge budget to the Ministry of Education, but then we need to ask ourselves whether we are also looking at the standards in terms of, do every school have these books? Every constituency, the schools that we have, do they have? Are they sharing? What can we do to ensure they have these textbooks? And the other thing we have to ask ourselves, even as we move, is when you look at your confirmation of your JSS, you have now 20 intern teachers to be permanent and pensionable in terms. And then you have a promotion of at least 30,000 teachers and implementation of the second phase of the 2025-2029 collective bargaining agreement, CBA. So you realize the education sector, Madam Speaker, takes quite a number of key things. And I'm hoping even for the teachers, for everyone, we are doing this for the sake of our children. Because one of the challenges we face, Madam Speaker, even as we do all this, is that you find we assume it is just a job. You enter into a school, when you look at the children, you feel a bit sad. And so I want to plead also with the teachers. You are there because of the child. If a child was not there, then there was no need of employment in a school. So take care of the children. Be there. Some of the children, Madam Speaker, will just wish counseling. I've realized, Madam Speaker, and I will tell you, and I won't tell you the name of the school, but I can tell you, Madam Speaker, we decided to bring 100 counselors in a school. And the issues the girls were raising, you listen to them and you realize there is need, absolute need, of parent-child friendship. Absolute need, I want to repeat. Because you hear a child saying, I go home, I have passed my exams. To my parents, they will never see as if it is something. It's like it is normal to them, Madam Speaker. So some of these small things you see right now in school, and I want to really, really send my condolences, Madam Speaker, to the parents. And I know both parents, for those who are now with no children, oh, may the Lord have favor and may the Lord comfort them. But we have those also who their children now are facing the worst, Madam Speaker. They need prayers also. Because it means sometimes you will not understand our children. And you don't know who to blame, you don't know what to say, but you look at them and you ask yourself a lot of questions. In fact, it is so difficult I find us politicians, and now the country, we've made everything politics. Madam Speaker, I know what you go through. It is so difficult even to talk about. So, Madam Speaker, this confirmation of JSS teachers is critical, yes, but let us turn back to our children. Let us not make it just a job, but let us make it to mold a children, a nation that will come and take over us, Madam Speaker. The other thing, Madam Speaker, is the fertilizer subsidy. It's a program that has done very well. And I'm hoping it will continue helping us as farmers who have registered as farmers. And we continue, really, it has 18 billion. And I would wish farmers can register more. And let each of one of us, if you have a land somewhere, do something on that land just to save ourselves and the country. Madam Speaker, I'll come now to the recommendation that I know everyone is awaiting us to see what we do. You remember, Madam Speaker, we had agreed that for those who have their salaries 30,000 and below, we will have to ensure we deal with that category and just ease the burdens that they are in. And so I'm hoping, Chair, that that is going to happen. Because it is critical, they are hurting, and we need to see, I know we have challenges of petroleum, but even as we deal with petroleum, Madam Speaker, we have to ask ourselves, where are we easing burdens, and where are we going to hold ourselves as a country and walk a journey together knowing the challenges we are facing. Madam Speaker, if the government would wish to ensure that also we move in the same steps, then Parliament should push for an urgent revision in institutionalization and guidelines of gender-based violence. Because it is an issue that has really hurt this country. With those few remarks, Madam Speaker, I beg to support.
Very well. Member for North Imenti.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I support generally the budget estimates for 2026-2027, and I have a few comments. I have seen, Madam Speaker, we've got the Equalization Fund, which has been allocated 10 billion. But Madam Speaker, if you go to the record, there is a debt of more than 20 billion which has not been given to the Equalization Fund. So I hope this 10 billion will be forthcoming, because when we were doing an audit of the Equalization Fund under the special funds, and there is a debt which has never been cleared. Madam Speaker, I'm surprised there are a few items here which the Budget Committee deemed fit to remove. The first one would be, do we have less prisoners that they would reduce the rations of 100 million from the prisons department for rations? And I'm just surprised because I know there are more prisoners than we can even accommodate in our prisons. Madam Speaker, the budget for REREC, in one go it has been reduced from REREC and put to public institutions. About 1.5 billion has been reduced from transformers and put to public facilities. Madam Speaker, I think we need more of this in the energy. I hope the chairman will take note of that. Madam Speaker, we're talking about, Honorable Makali Mulu talked about KRA being given more money. But I am seeing money has been reduced for KRA in the areas for revenue enhancement. About 300 million has been removed from KRA revenue enhancement. And how are they then supposed to get more money, recover and get people to pay what they have to pay. Madam Speaker, I think KRA needs to be supported. I have seen the judiciary. It has been removed money for ICT, where it would help the cases to be moved to go faster in the judiciary. But apparently, money for ICT has been removed from judiciary, Madam Speaker. And I do not understand, if it is removed, how are we expecting our courts to operate and go faster in solving our cases, Madam Speaker? Madam Speaker, one good thing that I note is the money which has been allocated for village elders, or what we normally call them in area managers in our area. That's what most of them are called. Madam Speaker, that will go a long way, and I hope once we do that, they will be more motivated to work, because they've been doing the work without pay all these years. We should even look at how we can give them uniforms, because, Madam Speaker, there is a chief in my area, an assistant chief, and some chiefs. They have made them uniforms for the area managers or village elders, and it does enhance the work they do, and it gives them even, they feel proud to be part of the security apparatus. Madam Speaker, I have seen we've got a record budget for the roads sector, but Madam Speaker, we have got a lot of pending bills. Especially in the road sector, we have got more than 100 and over 100 billion of pending bills. Madam Speaker, I would have wished we could look at how we are going to pay off all the pending bills for the national government, which stands at above 510 billion, and the county governments, they stand at over 170 billion. Madam Speaker, those pending bills, people have supplied services to the government. The ones who have supplied to the county governments, we are always talking about verification. How long will the verification take so that people can get paid their money? Because many people commit suicide because of lack of money, and they have taken loans from banks. So they have to be, now the government needs to think how we are going to pay. Madam Speaker, the third thing which I would want to talk about is the debt, because we cannot have the budget increasing every year. When I was in the Committee of Finance in 2014, and I asked, at that time the chairman was Honorable Langat, and I asked, why should we always be increasing the budget? Why can't we keep it stationary? Madam Speaker, I wish we had left it at that time the way it was, because even the debt ceiling, which was there after President Kibaki's time, it was at 1.2 trillion. But there was a proposal from Treasury at that time to increase it by another 600 million to make it 1.8. But unfortunately, while it was brought to Parliament, instead of what Treasury had asked, we decided to increase it to 2.4 trillion, Madam Speaker. I wish we had stopped there, because at the moment, as we stand, our debt is still going up, and we are paying so much in interest charges, which we have inherited from the previous government. Madam Speaker, right now, with the budget, what we are expecting, revenues are of about 2.9 trillion, and the budget is about 4 trillion. Madam Speaker, 1.1 trillion we will have to borrow from somewhere, and if it is from the domestic market, the cost is prohibitive, and payment of that debt, because the banks at the moment are laughing all the way because they're making abnormal profits at the expense of giving to the ordinary citizens. Madam Speaker, we need to cut all our debts. We need to see how to manage our debts. And if it is possible, not to increase the budget. Madam Speaker, I have seen there is a reduction in the TSC budget for teachers, a 30 million reduction in teacher training. I am wondering, I thought we need more teachers, and that has been what we've done. I mean, this government has increased 100,000 teachers in the last 3 to 4 years. We have not had so many teachers before, but we now need to even look at how we are going to accommodate the JSS teachers, Madam Speaker. Because if we do not, I mean, we need to separate the JSS from the primary section, and then we need to promote whoever is to be promoted so that even we employ the JSS teachers. Because, Madam Speaker, I have not seen it here that we are putting the JSS in place. Madam Speaker, there are many things which we need to do as a country, and I think if it is possible, we can look at how we are going to subsidize fuel so that the fuel prices can come down. And I'm glad I heard the Minister for Energy and Petroleum, Honorable Wandai, saying that the prices will go down soon. I would want to urge the Minister to not wait until the 15th of June to lower the prices. I think he can do better if the fuel which we are going to get very soon, it will be at a lower rate. Let it be put down before the June the 15th. Madam Speaker, I have seen that we are talking about increasing money for indigents. But Madam Speaker, we have reduced the money which is going to the Social Protection Fund. It's going for indigents insurance. So, Madam Speaker, we need to now rebalance and see that our people who are on the social ladder, who are lower, they can get their money on time and enough. Madam Speaker, with those few remarks, I support.
Member for Marsabit, Naboako.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to add my voice to budget and appropriation debate, as I confirm that I support the ongoing debate. Honorable Speaker, I have gone through the report. That is why you can see I'm holding this report. I also want to congratulate the committee for giving all their attention, their time to this very important process and for guiding the nation and this honorable house. Honorable Speaker, if you go through the report, one thing that comes out is the different areas that has been considered, and especially village elders, because we are all part of the village elders formation, and all of us have benefited from our village elders. In fact, it has excited me. The amount that they will receive may sound small or look small. 3,000 may look very small, but even to just give them air time so that they can be able to communicate to their people and also us, because we all depend on the village elders for one reason or the other. For the first time, our government has done one of the best things to recognize the village elders and also appreciate their efforts. And thus I want to say a big thank you to our president, because he is focused and he considers every part of the country and also all the people who contribute to the growth of this nation. So for the village elders to get at least something from now on, that is encouraging, and ours is just to make sure that we keep improving the policy so that we can also have enough budget that can take care of them. So I'm happy that village elders have been considered for this. Again, when you look at the report, fertilizer subsidy. Again, 18 billion has been put there to strengthen food security. Honorable Speaker, the nation that cannot feed its people is not a nation. And for our president to focus on this and also make sure that we have enough food in our stores and also feeding our people well, then that confirms that we'll be able to finance, we'll be able to feed our children, and they will also be able to study, and we will have a healthy nation because of having enough food that can build our bodies and also give us enough income, even locally, and sometimes we can even be able to export some of the food if we produce enough. So that is also very good, so that at least our farmers can be able to produce enough food for our country. Again, Honorable Speaker, under road infrastructure, we have put some substantial amount of money because every part of this country is benefiting from that. I want to congratulate His Excellency the President and the Ministry because they are focusing. The past pending bills have been paid, and right now new areas or identified roads are done, and done in a good way. And for us to put enough money there, then that confirms that we are growing and growing very well. Honorable Speaker, again, rural electrification is another area, the last mile connectivity. I come from an area that still needs this, and for our government and for the committee to consider this and put some money there, then that means we'll be able to connect many more homes, and many people will benefit from this. When this happens with the road infrastructure and everything, then definitely there'll be economical growth. People will also be able to advance and also have better lives. And that is why I am happy that we are on the right track. The budget may look huge, but we are committed to transforming this government to this country, and our president is focused enough. Youth enterprise, which will be domiciled in every ward, again, is another encouraging thing because we have so many youths. Our young people are there. Many of them are graduates. Many of them are very innovative and very creative. Many have also started their own businesses. But unless they get some financial support, they may not be able to do a lot. And for this budget to consider that, we are on the right track. It shows that we are also concerned with our young people and their future. And mine is just to encourage the young people to make good use of these funds that are there and use the funds wisely to benefit themselves and their families. Honorable Speaker, again, the footbridges. We are doing a lot of housing and constructing a lot of houses, but most of the time we suffer because we do not have footbridges. Sometimes accidents happen, but when we do this, then we are protecting the lives of our people and also making sure that the infrastructure or the construction that we are doing will be taken care of, and that we also take care of all our people. Again, Honorable Speaker, when you look at the budget, there is some money that we have put there for election preparedness. The committee has allocated timely procurement of electoral materials and technology, and the strengthening of voter registration, civic education program, and enhancement of institutional capacity, guarantee public confidence and effective delivery of the electoral process. This is very important because we are nearing the elections, and 2027 is so close. Empowering the IBC, giving them enough resources will ensure that we have free and fair election, and also motivate our electorates by educating them, giving them the materials they need, creating enough awareness, and just building their confidence, just for them to know they are right and everything. Honorable Speaker, this is the right time to do what we have done, putting enough money there so that IBC will be able to do all the things that they need to do on time, and also prepare the country so that we can have that fair and free election. As I finish, Honorable Speaker, confirmation of JSS teachers is quite important. This government in history has already employed over 100,000 teachers, and the committee noted these interventions are expected to address existing staffing gaps in school, enhance teacher motivation through career progression, improve job security, and promote stability and efficiency in the education sector. Honorable Speaker, there is no other important ministry than this, because we are investing in the future of our children and preparing them to be leaders. They are already leaders, and they will be our future leaders. And unless we invest enough and educate them, give them all that they need, we may not have a good future, we may not have good leaders in future. But our government is focusing a lot and allocated enough money. And mine is just to request the TSC, when they do the promotion, we make sure that we consider all the qualified people from different parts of this country, so that at least no one is demoralized, but everyone is motivated and giving their best to the country. Honorable Speaker, the budget looks good. We might need to go extra mile to look for funds, but it is of benefit to this nation, and we congratulate the committee and look forward to this nation growing through this budget. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. The Honorable Koech.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Let me also add my voice to this budget estimate 26-27. I'm not going through the entire document, but I must say that the Budget Committee, I must allow the Budget Committee for very job well done. A team that is chaired by my very good friend Sam Atandi has done a very good job. A budget of 4.8 trillion, Honorable Speaker, is just not about numbers. It is about the real transformation that this country needs. It must interpret into development. It must be seen to be going down to the people in terms of development. And I've taken time to look at the budget. And I must say that the areas that we've always wanted have largely been covered, particularly the issue in the teaching sector. I want to confirm, and I'm very happy today because every member in this House has received a message from teachers, and confirmed teachers, the JSS teachers, that have always been sending us messages that kindly please create budget for us so that we can be confirmed. And in this estimate, there is good news. There is a budget line for them now, and it means that all the JSS teachers will now be confirmed. Those that have been on temporary basis will now be confirmed, because there has been allocation towards that end. What does that mean? It means that our teachers, the ratio of teacher to student will now significantly reduce, making it very important in the teaching fraternity, so that we have students who have a lesser, who have teachers are able to cater for the numbers of students that we have. And I must thank this administration, the William Samoei Ruto's administration. Having 100,000 teachers employed in the space of the last 3 years is not mean feat. It is the highest number, the biggest number that has ever been achieved since independence. We have combined the numbers of all the previous administrations and even surpassed it. by the recruitment of more than 100,000 teachers, and now subsequently confirmation of all the JSS teachers that had been employed on a temporary basis. In terms of healthcare, particularly the primary healthcare, there is an additional fund, an improvement of fund. I must mention, Honorable Speaker, that if we members of Parliament are able to utilize this fund, we have issues, particularly in healthcare. And this is going to give a boost into SHA. We, as members of Parliament, all the time, have become a mobile social welfare. We contribute to fundraisers. We contribute because of diseases and people getting sick, and because of cost of hospitalization. Many of them die when they are not even supported. Now that there is an injection, an increase in the allocation to the primary health care, I think it will now give a boost to the healthcare of the citizens of this nation. We will have a healthier population. We will have a reduced stress on our hospitals, which significantly means that even our economy will improve. The other issue that I wanted to mention was the Nyota program. I know critics will have their say, but let me say this, Honorable Speaker. The Nyota program is a robust program. It is a huge program. It is a transformative program, particularly for those who have seen what it did in the previous phase of the rollout of this program. It is transformed because people, small entrepreneurs, are able to borrow. They are able to make significant input into their businesses, and it is real time because these are the small people with small businesses that are being supported. These are the mama mbogas given a small amount of money to start their business or to improve their businesses. These are the people who are hustling every day on border sector. These are the people, the shoe shiners that we have that are driving the economy of this country from the village level, now giving a pat on the shoulder by the government and giving them a resource to inject into what they already have or to start new businesses. We must be alive to the fact that we have a challenge in the nation. There is a ballooning population of young people without job opportunities. And as a country and members who are responsible, as leadership, we must be deliberate on what we want to do to our people so that we are able to create employment. This is a sector that I think is a game changer. And I must thank the Budget Committee for allocating about 12.5 billion to the Nyota program. That will be a significant boost. It will change. It will help our society. It will help the people who want to start businesses, small and big, in achieving what they intend to do at the smaller level. Then I come to the Ministry of Defense, where I chair. And I must thank again the Budget Committee. Honorable Speaker, the world has become extremely dynamic. Threats are becoming real and new every day. We are confronted by a world that is restless, a world that is erratic. Pronouncements that are made in the capital, whether it is Washington, D.C., or pronouncements that are made in the EU, have a direct effect on our national security. Therefore, the resource of our defense becomes extremely paramount in the budget-making process. I must thank my committee and the Committee on Budget for having considered the recommendations that we had made as a committee so that we are able to conform with the reality and the changes in the global security space. I saw many people the other day in Nyanyuki when there was an attempt demonstration in the Laikipia Air Base. You must have seen the machine that was out. That is what we call an APC. That are the new systems, armored personnel carriers that our military have acquired. We will continue, we must continuously make sure that our military, as a defense of our sovereignty, is well-funded, well-catered for, so that it continues to secure our borders. We have, like I said, we have restless neighbors. There is an imminent threat every single day. And as a country, we must not sleep. We must make sure that we resource our military. In fact, as a committee now, the challenge will be, because a lot has been done, to make sure that the money that has been allocated to my committee, we are able to put every coin to account, to make sure that the soldiers are fully kitted. The soldiers have uniforms, the soldiers are fully kitted, and the equipment are up to shape so that we do not experience any incidences. Case in mind is Kenya Armed Forces, Kenya Air Force, sorry. This parliament before have put me in account on the accidents that we've seen before in our Kenya Air Force. I want to confirm to the country that the Ministry of Defense has acquired air defense system, and is also improving on our air defense from the Kenya Air Force. I wouldn't go to the details, but I want to say that today, our Kenya Air Force is more equipped, better trained, and is going to confront any challenge that might face them or threat that might face them soon or in future. Honorable Speaker, I must also say that in terms of our intelligence gathering, the National Intelligence Service. The National Intelligence Service, and I must use this opportunity in a very big way to thank the National Intelligence Service Director, Mr. Nordin Haji, for transforming our national intelligence infrastructure. Today, information gathering has become even more better. Honorable Speaker, many people might not know that a lot of terrorism and terrorist attempts have been thwarted by our national intelligence system because of information. Members from the Northeastern will, where of course we've had prevalence, those that come from Rift Valley, my region, particularly those in Baringo and the Samburu and Turkana, will tell you that we have had a very robust information gathered at this parliament. But National Intelligence Service have been at the forefront. And from when we started the onset of this 13th parliament, I can tell you there are very, very few cases of successful penetration by the terrorists and terrorist attempts in Kenya, merely because we've continued to resource our National Intelligence Service so that they can improve and increase the number of the workforce of officers in our National Intelligence Service, buy more sophisticated technological equipment that is used and advanced, that is used to gather information, to collect information, and to transmit information. That I must thank the honorable colleagues and the Committee on Budget for seeing it better again to resource it. I also must mention a sector. Honorable Speaker, let me even mention to this House that we have something called defense industrialization. In India, Bangladesh, and Pakistan, under Ministry of Defense, there is actually a Ministry of Industrialization. It is massive. I have seen comments at times from people who do not understand the support that the Ministry of Defense does give in making sure that as a country, progress of works is achieved on time. You look at Talanta today. You look at Wajir, where we held the celebrations the other day, 1st June celebrations when we were held in Wajir. And if you looked at the timelines that the Ministry of Defense had been given and the timeline that they took to execute the project until we had celebrations there, I want to tell you, Honorable Speaker, that it shows you that there's a lot of inefficiency in government. That is why the Ministry of Defense has been brought in to support in supervising most of these projects. We have about 48 projects active that are being supervised now by the Ministry of Defense. We have the Talanta Stadium, we have the Bombers of Kenya, we have roads, we have hospitals that are being built, we have stadiums that are being built, we have water infrastructure that is being put up by the Ministry of the Defense, we have supervision of our railway. So in a way, even the budget that we allocate here, most of it also at some point will have to go into the supervision of the work that are being done by the Ministry of Defense. And I want to laud the Ministry of Defense and P.S. Mariro and of course, Honorable Soipan, both of them who are our colleagues both of them were on the speaker's panel, in the way they have transformed our military to become even more robust, to be a military that engages people, to be a military that makes sure that our economy as a country, the infrastructure, development of infrastructure is development of our country, and continuous development of that infrastructure and supervision by the ministry is commendable. And as a House, we must laud them for meeting those targets and making sure that they become part and parcel of our bottom-up economic transformation agenda. Honorable Speaker, as I conclude, I want to thank the Budget Committee. I've looked at different areas from education. I'll still go through this document: education, healthcare, transport. Transport, I must equally, in the same measure, thank the ministry for thinking outside the box. Today, Honorable Speaker, we'll be having a challenge if we do not have a thoughtful and innovative mind in the Ministry of Roads and Transport. That today, beyond our normal budget, our normal revenue, and the direct injection of capital into the sector, they have become extremely innovative, and now they have explored the securitization model to be able to fund some of the infrastructure that for many years had not been developed. I am certain that every county in this country today, machines are roaring on site, machines are moving, some roadworks are being done, earthworks are being done, and this is what we need. As members of parliament, as we go to election, part of the things that you must show your people is what you've achieved. What is it that you've done as member of parliament? And even though we do not manipulate how funds are allocated, this House and the Budget Committee must make sure that there is equitable distribution of resources across the country so that the entire country can achieve meaningful change. With all many remarks, I must say this is going to be a transformative budget, and I want to laud the Budget Committee. I support, Honorable Speaker. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Honorable members, before I go to the next honorable member, I would like to recognize this morning, seated in the Speaker's Gallery, we have Kia Wambogo Senior School from Kangema constituency in Murang'a County, and Moi High School Mbiruri from Runyenjes constituency in Embu County. Thank you very much for visiting the National Assembly. You are welcome to continue observing proceedings of the House. Honorable members, we now go to the chairman for Departmental Committee on Health, the Honorable Dr. Nyikal.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. Madam Speaker, as I rise to support this budget, I'll only make comment on 3 areas that I think are important. Money has been put, but we may have to do a little more. Starting with the area of education, as you already seen, actually it has got the largest share of the whole budget, but we still have issues there, and I think the main thing is there is harmonization of policies. We have so many policies that have come up, and the university funding, which is there, competence-based education, which is there, capitation processes. I think these are all great ideas and are rightly funded, but the issue is the efficiency with which they are being implemented, I think, is being hampered by there are many and they are not harmonized. I think if we have to harmonize them, I think we'll get a better result for the more money we have put there. If you look at the problems we have in education, like the unfortunate fire problem we had, and I must pass condolences to those families. You know, Madam Speaker, how can a child take a matchbox, strike it, and pop paraffin or whatever, and light a mattress where a colleague is sleeping? We must think what is happening in our country. So with issues like that, I think the more money we put there, but it's better, but we look at processes that are going in there. The next, Madam Speaker, I want to talk about is the youth empowerment. Again, this is one of the biggest challenges we have, empowerment of the youth. I am happy that money has been put there, but one thing again that is important are the structures. And what has actually made me feel a little better with this budget on this, they have actually put money to operationalize constituency youth offices. We have all these programs. We have the Youth Development Fund. We have the Nyota Fund. We even have the Hatzler Fund. But I don't know, in some constituencies, maybe things are different. But in mine, you don't get a structure that follows this money so that you can know the people who got into the Nyota program, the people who are trying the Youth Development Fund, even the Hatzler Fund. Who do they link with? You need a lot of structures in place to support these young people when they have got the money. Even the training programs they have now, who is following up if you do not have officers at constituency level? The amount of money we give out should actually, in a way, be related to the amount of money we spend on the operationalizing them and supporting them. I think that is extremely important as we put money there. Lastly, I'll make a comment about health. I know, and I appreciate the budget committee, that the proposals we put from the health committee actually have come through. Primary health care fund, the increase from 13 to 19 billion is extremely important. People have issues with SHA. Some are saying it doesn't work, some are saying it's working. But the problem is actually simple and straightforward, and this will help it. A lot of people, 30 million people, have now registered under SHA, but only about 5 million have actually paid the premium. But why are we registering them? So many, if they are not covered under the premium? Because we have the primary care fund for which they do not have to pay a premium. And if we increase this money, which is going to support level 2, level 3, and even some outpatients in level 4, that will go a long way, because for that, people do not have to pay a premium. So long as you have registered, you will get the service. But Madam Speaker, again, another important thing in this area is how is this primary health care fund used? It's actually disbursed directly to the facilities through the Facility Improvement Fund, and that is now under the management of the counties. We have a problem there. In some counties, this money is not properly used, so that facilities have money, some are back in the county, some have even put what I would call almost like bylaws that pull the money back. So this 19 billion, if we improve the utilization through the Facility Improvement Fund, and the counties actually strengthen level 2 and level 3 using this money. Madam Speaker, can you imagine Kenyans going to level 2 and level 3, getting treatment, getting their drugs and going home? That is a huge change, and it is possible with this 19B that has been put. And if we do that, then it will actually take off the hit on social insurance fund, which is the shift, and we'll see a marked improvement. At the same time, we have put in money on KEMSA, 20.9B. That's a lot of money. And again, if the distribution of drugs using this money works well, and the facility improvement funds, if you can get a situation where in our primary care facilities, the primary care network, level 2 and level 3, people actually get drugs, not just being seen and told to go and buy drugs. That would work, and that is why KEMSA is actually being funded at this level. Again, the link between KEMSA supply and the county is important, because sometimes counties actually don't pay KEMSA once they have been supplied. So that if that doesn't work, then every year we'll have to put large amounts in KEMSA. While the design was that it should be like a rolling fund, so that if you put money and the counties buy, then KEMSA really doesn't need to be funded every year. But if you look at the debts that KEMSA have, basically it's government, from the Ministry of Health for distribution and storage, and from the counties that do not pay when KEMSA has delivered. And we have found that in counties where actually KEMSA is paid and drugs are delivered, we find that even Facility Improvement Fund works better. So that's an area we should really spend that money properly. The UHC staff, again, this is a problem we have had. And last budget, we actually put money. They were supposed to be now taken on permanent and pensionable. But again, the arrangement between the county government and the national government did not really work out. Now we have put this money again. Now it is actually going to go directly to the counties. We expect that now they should take up the UHC workers. And I'll call upon the county governments. Take the people who have been there, who have been working on contract terms. Don't employ new people, while what motivated us to put this money was to put these people on contract terms. Madam Speaker, also the supply of global fund for malaria, TB, and HIV, 18.5 billion. This is welcome, and again, our committee is thankful to the budget committee, because this is an area that for a long time has been funded by the donors. And we know the donor funds are dwindling, and if we do not keep up and put more funds, we are going to have problems on those key areas. And this is an area we are suggesting, and I've not seen the recommendations, that actually the areas, key areas in health, like the Global Fund and vaccination, the money should actually be ring-fenced, so that even during the supplementary budgets, we do not touch them. I've noted, Madam Speaker, again, with a little bit of satisfaction, that we have put a little more money in Kenyatta National Hospital. But this is just one. All these level 6 facilities, Kenyatta National Hospital, Moi Referral, Kenyatta University, they have a big problem of personnel emoluments. Because when we started and there was anticipation that with the working of SHA, they will actually raise a lot of funds, which they should. But that has not worked as well as we wanted. And so we reduced their personnel emoluments. But the basis on which we reduced them has not actually come to fruition. So they are facing a lot. And again, this is an area we asked the budget committee if they could add more money for personal emoluments in our level 6 hospitals. With that, Madam Speaker, I do support this budget.
Thank you very much, Chairman. The Honorable Wamboka.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I'd like to appreciate the work that has been done by my good friend, Honorable Batandi, into this. But Honorable Speaker, I want to underline a few issues that are of importance to our country. Since where we've come from as a country, from 1963, honestly speaking, the least we expect as a country is that we have free primary education, free secondary education, and free university education, Honorable Speaker. Education is the foundation of any society. But Honorable Speaker, looking at the way the trends that have been happening in this country, education is not funded enough, Honorable Speaker. The other day, when the President was saying they have released capitation, Honorable Speaker, in our dismay, they had released only 95 shillings per student, Honorable Speaker. Those are peanuts. We want to encourage this government to ensure that primary education is free, Honorable Speaker. Provide enough money. Provide enough money for teachers, Honorable Speaker. Provide enough money for infrastructure. When we get the stories of fires like the one we had in Nakuru the other day, it is not a good story. you could see, Honorable Speaker, that students were even sleeping in corridors. There were beds on the corridors, Honorable Speaker, which makes it very difficult for students even to escape when these fires come up. We want the government to prioritize education of our children in this country, Honorable Speaker. Provide enough monies for infrastructure. If you give a teacher, a head teacher, 95 shillings per student, for how long can a student depend on 95 shillings, Honorable Speaker? We are encouraging this government to wake up from slumberland and ensure that they prioritize the issues of education, Honorable Speaker. If you asked me, for instance, between housing and education, I will go for education. It will matter not how many skyscrapers you build in this country, Honorable Speaker, as long as our children are not in school. As long as we don't have infrastructure in our schools, Honorable Speaker, it will matter not. If you go to my village, if you go to Bumula constituency, we don't need housing. We don't need housing. We need education. We need infrastructure in our schools. We need our children to feed and stay in schools, Honorable Speaker. I dream for that day when education will be free in this country. I miss the late Honorable Mwai Kibaki, His Excellency. I miss Uhuru Kenyatta. Mwai Kibaki gave us free primary education, Honorable Speaker. Uhuru Kenyatta brought us free secondary day education, Honorable Speaker. This government must do something. They must have a signature on the education of this country, Honorable Speaker. We want to encourage this government to go out of its way to ensure that they prioritize matters of education. Teachers, JSS teachers, we have 44,000 teachers, JSS. I've looked at the budget, they're only accommodating 20,000 teachers, Honorable Speaker. I want to beseech this government that why do we take our students to school if we cannot absorb them?
Did I hear a point of order from the chairman?
No.
Please proceed, Chairman. Chairman, Budget and Appropriation.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, the Honorable Wamboka is my good friend. I just wanted to correct him that only JSS teachers who are going to be confirmed and those that have served for 2 years. The arrangement is that every 2 years we confirm JSS teachers. And therefore, the amount of money we have in the budget is sufficient to confirm JSS teachers who have served for 2 years. Therefore, there's nothing out of order on your point. Thank you.
Honorable Amboka, please proceed with your debate without misleading the House. Make sure that you have read the report so that you are able to debate based on facts.
Honorable Speaker, we have 44,000 JSS teachers who are not employed. I agree with what Honorable Batandi is saying, that those who are served 2 years are 20,000, Honorable Speaker. We want to encourage the government that once we train these teachers, Honorable Speaker, we have deficiency of teachers in this country. Absorb all of them. I agree with what Honorable Batandi is saying. It is a fact. But why can't we take all of them, even those who have not served 2 years? That's my point, Honorable Speaker. So I want to encourage, Honorable Speaker, that once we train our students, we take them to universities, we take them to colleges, Honorable Speaker, let us ensure that we have enough teachers to go and service our schools, Honorable Speaker. Teachers are suffering in this country, Honorable Speaker. If today a teacher falls sick, woe unto him or her, Honorable Speaker, because of this something called insurance. SHA has caused a nightmare to teachers, and I speak for teachers of Bungoma County. The other day, they were being treated at Bungoma West Hospital. It collapsed. Now teachers are hanging. You go to this hospital, SHA is not working. You go to this hospital, SHA has been suspended. Teachers are suffering. Let the teachers go back to their days of dignity where they have an insurance that takes care of their needs without being inconvenienced, Honorable Speaker. Madam Speaker, healthcare of any nation is key to the future of that nation, Madam Speaker. Our hospitals, we want to encourage the government to put more money. Yes, they have increased the budgets for healthcare, Madam Speaker, but we want to encourage them to provide free healthcare for the citizenry of this country, Honorable Madam Speaker. Our people are suffering. Our people are dying every other day. Those who cannot access medication, they're dying. And they're dying from as basic ailments as malaria, Madam Speaker. We want to encourage this government to prioritize matters of health, Madam Speaker. If you have a healthy nation, you have an educated nation, Madam Speaker, 90% of the problems that befall a country will not be there, Madam Speaker. I want to thank the committee of Honorable Atandi for providing a stipend for our village elders. We started this initiative with the Honorable Mwangi Mutuse, Honorable Speaker, when we were working on this motion. We want to encourage and first thank them that at least our village elders, the Bakasas, the Ligurus, who have done a lot of work can now smile at the end of the day. Madam Speaker, 3,000 may not be enough, but thank you. Honorable Atandi, in future, try and ensure that this, because of the economy where we are, this money goes up a bit. And lastly, Madam Speaker, we want regional balancing. We want everyone in this country to feel and believe that they are in Kenya because we all pay taxes. We don't want a scenario where, like I was looking at the road sector, Honorable Speaker, in Bungoma County, the roads that started in 2013 up to now, they have not been finished, and the amounts that have been put are not even sufficient to do 1 kilometer, Honorable Speaker. We want fairness. We all pay taxes. We want a scenario where every Kenyan matters. Every region matters, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable members, before we continue, I would like to take this opportunity to recognize students seated in the Speaker's Gallery this morning. Students from St. Angela's Girls' School from Kitui Central Constituency, Kitui County. You are welcome to the National Assembly to continue observing proceedings of the House. Do you know them? The member for Imenti Central? Take one minute. Imenti North, please take a minute.
Thank you, Madam
You
Speaker.
have really requested that you want to welcome the students.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the lovely ladies who are up there, I met them up there, and they told me they're coming from Kitui. And because you are from Kitui as well, Madam Speaker, I call them cousins, so that Meru and the Kamba community are cousins for that matter. So I welcome them and the other students as well. And hapa ndio mnaza kufika mkiwa mmesoma vizuri. Asante moja.
Thank you for making it very quick because we have very important business in this house. The Honorable Nyakundi.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. First of all, I want to thank the Budget and Appropriations Committee, led by my good brother, Honorable Atandi, for presenting this budget 2026-2027, a budget that is fair and well distributed in terms of resources across the different divides of this country. Yes, it is a big budget of about 4.89 trillion and about 420 billion goes to the county governments to be able to support devolution in our counties. Honorable Speaker, I have looked at this budget and I have seen quite substantive amount of money about 789 billion Kenya shillings that is going towards the education of this country. Education is very important, and education is the only equalizer in life. I've seen my good brother, Honorable Wamboka, saying that this government is not prioritizing education. I want to tell him categorically here that if there is one government that has prioritized education, is this government. Because in this government, William Ruto and this government has been able to employ more than 100,000 teachers. And again, as we speak, in this budget, we have put in 8 billion Kenya shillings that will go into recruiting the intern teachers into permanent and pensionable basis. I want to also tell Honorable Wamboka, who's my good friend and has just left, that it is this government that has moved the budget of education from 500
Honorable
billion.
Nyakundi, I would have wanted the Honorable Wamboka to be in the House so that he can listen to you, because you have gone through the report and you are giving facts within the report from the Budget Committee. You know, it's unfortunate that he has spoken, said very negative things, and he has left. So, honorable members, I encourage you that after you have debated, it's good to remain, even if it's for 5-10 minutes, so that you can get a feel of what the other members are saying. Please proceed.
Honorable Speaker, I think it's because Honorable Wamboka knew that I'm standing to speak and I'm going to give him clear facts. That is why he decided to run away. But I think I'll share with him this after this. It is in this government that the budget of education has moved from 500 billion to 789 billion. An increment from 2022 to today, an increment of more than 200 billion to support capitation in JSS, to support capitation in primary school, to support TVET, to support help. So this government has done a lot in terms of education, in terms of schools, so that we are able to support our schools. This same government has been able to employ or to build more than 23,000 classes, JSS classes, in less than 2 years. So when I hear Honorable Wamboka talking about education without facts, next time he needs to come back here and I school him on issues to do with education and this budget. I also want to thank the Budget and Appropriations Committee and the Committee of Agriculture. Also put in substantive amount of money towards the agriculture sector, about 63 billion Kenya shillings. As you know, agriculture is what we depend on as a country. A few years back, we had issues to do with agriculture, but we have put enough money, about 18 billion, towards the subsidy of fertilizer and towards subsidy of seedlings, about 2 billion. So I want to thank the Budget and Appropriations Committee for doing a good job on that. I also want to thank the Budget and Appropriations Committee because, as you know, in any budget, the first charge is CFS. There's a lot of money that has put in towards paying debt that we have as a country and interest of debt that we have as a country. About 1.1 trillion Kenya shillings has been put in towards the assistance of paying debt in the country. A lot of money, as my good brother Honorable Wamboka has said. As you know, most of our village elders used never to be paid, but about 3.95 billion has been put in towards paying the village elders. That stipend will go a long way in supporting these village elders, so that, because as you know, the village elders support the government and support the people down there in various activities that they do. Another very important point, Honorable Wamboka said here that the money that has put in for infrastructure is not enough. I remember in 2022, The money that was there for infrastructure was 75 billion. Today, as we speak today here, the money for infrastructure is 170 billion. As a country, we have moved most of the roads that had stalled back then. Some from 2018, there's some roads even in my constituency that had stalled. But as we speak here today, all the roads that had stalled, contractors are on site and the roads are ongoing. And we're also getting support, not only from the budget, but we are also getting support from the securitization of the securitization. The 7 shillings that we put in for securitization has helped us in supporting our roads, and most of our roads are ongoing. And we want to thank the Ministry of Roads for the good job that they are doing towards supporting the infrastructure. Lastly, I want to talk about the money that has put in for last mile electricity connectivity. About 12 billion has been put in towards public facilities, towards transformers in constituencies. As you know, electricity should not be for the rich or for a few. Electricity should be for every Kenyan, so that this electricity goes a long way in supporting kids to do their homework, in supporting in terms of industrialization. So I want to thank the Energy Committee also so much, because of putting in that money. It will go a long way in doing the last mile connectivity. Generally, I want to thank the Budget and Appropriations Committee because of presenting a budget that is equitable across the country. Every part of this country has been touched in this budget. If you look from northern Kenya, roads are ongoing. Western Kenya, roads are ongoing. Coast region, roads are ongoing. And many other projects are going on within the country. So I want to thank the Budget and Appropriations Committee and each and every other committee that took its time to present their budget towards the Budget and Appropriations Committee. And I believe this budget will be able to transform this country and bring the development that is required. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Naisula Lesuda.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to also contribute. And from the onset, I must say that I support the report that is before the House. And I'd also like to congratulate the Budget and Appropriations Committee, where I sit, and which is chaired by the able chairman, Honorable Atandi, for his guidance, and also for the long hours that we put in listening to the departmental chairs. I also would like to congratulate the departmental committees for the work that they put in before they came before the Budget and Appropriations Committee. I know that they interrogated and they also engaged a lot with the departmental committees of different sectors, and that is what has led to this report finally being tabled in the House. Madam Speaker, I just want to pick from where one of my colleagues had left on the issue of equity. Madam Speaker, when Treasury came before us, they brought a very good recommendation, which we support. I personally support it, that in future, when the departmental committees or the departments capture the projects, Madam Speaker, they need to capture very well the constituencies that those projects are and the counties that those projects are happening, Madam Speaker, because this will ensure that there is equity. This will also ensure that it's not just some people sitting in the departments, in the different ministries, Madam Speaker, putting projects in one area. We must ensure as a country that we have equity. There is no constituency or county that should be left behind when we are dividing the national cake, Madam Speaker. I must commend the Budget and Appropriations Committee for the budget they have allocated to the education sector. It continues to account for the largest share of our budget, And in the financial year 2026-2027, Madam Speaker, it is 781.4 billion shillings. A country that does not invest in education is definitely a country that is planning to fail. And we also know that across the country, Madam Speaker, even with the children that are here today, it is education that is going to give each one of them an opportunity and a chance to be whatever they dream to be of, for them to come all the way from Kitui and sit on the seat that you're sitting on, Madam Speaker, and even to represent their people and to be whatever else they want to be, Madam Speaker. And so as a country, we continue in primary education. And one of the tasks that we took the CS and the PS Treasury when they appeared before us, Madam Speaker, is to ensure that then these monies are just not in the books or in the estimates, Madam Speaker, but to ensure that Treasury releases capitation on time. And one of the assurances that we did get from the CS, Honorable Mbadi, is that from the previous term, Madam Speaker, capitation was released before schools were opened. And that is something which is commendable, and that is something that needs to continue. We do not want our teachers, our students to strain in schools, Madam Speaker. And so we hope that that trajectory will continue as we move forward. There is also something that was mentioned by Honorable Meli, the chair of the Departmental Committee on Education, Madam Speaker, and it is the issue of extracurricular funds, that is the sports money allocated to our schools, and also the drama festivals, Madam Speaker. We all know as members of parliament how it is, especially on second term, when our children have to participate in these extracurricular activities, that we are always asked for funds, for transport, to hire a bus, for their lunches, Madam Speaker. Well, this is something that is in the budget, which has been budgeted for, and it is also important that it be given per capita, that is per child, in school, released on time, and the respective head teachers to put this money into that use. So that, because it is not factored in NGCDF, it is mostly from members of parliament pockets, it can be catered for in schools, Madam Speaker. The third issue that is very important, still related to education, it is the money that has been allocated for the conversion of 20,000 teachers into permanent and pensionable terms. That is 4.9 billion, Madam Speaker. We know that our intern teachers have been putting in a lot of hours, teaching hours in our schools, and they have also been reaching out to us that they be absorbed into permanent and pensionable terms, and 20,000 of them have been factored in this budget, Madam Speaker. And on this, we have to commend that the numbers of teachers that are really going up, and this will help our learners in our schools. Madam Speaker, I must also commend that NGCDF budget has gone up to 61 billion from 58 billion 2025-2026 budget. And personally, I have been at the forefront fighting, and most of these members, Madam Speaker, and even our courts have now declared NGDCF constitutional, and anyone else who would like to have this debate should know that it is the people of Kenya who actually spoke and said that they would like NGCDF to be as it is. Because, Madam Speaker, of all the budgets, I must say that NGCDF is what equalizes all of us. Our schools in whichever part of the country, Madam Speaker, our children getting the bursaries at the constituency level, Madam Speaker, matters to do with environment, NGDCF, and even GAF, Madam Speaker, is a very, very important fund that helps our women at the county level, even with the mega resources that they receive as NGAF, Madam Speaker. We see the great impact that it has, especially for our women and youth, and the increase should even be more in the future, Madam Speaker. On matters equalization fund, as the committee has noted, there continues to be there continues to be a shortfall in the allocation, or I can call them arrears, Madam Speaker. Equalization Fund is a very important fund in our constitution, which is allocated to counties that have been marginalized for many years. And even as these funds continue to go to these counties, Madam Speaker, I do hope that when the formula of how these monies are distributed to these counties, we can revert back to the original counties, Mr. Speaker, because these funds were really meant to improve, especially the infrastructure in these counties, to have something significant, Madam Speaker. This money that we are now taking to the ward level, we are doing roads of 10 million, 20 million, Madam Speaker. That is not how we equalize these counties. We need to put funds which are going to improve these counties, Madam Speaker, to levels that are meaningful in terms of building roads that interconnect these counties, that interconnect constituencies, Madam Speaker, so that then the true meaning of Equalization Fund will then have a meaning. Madam Speaker, there was one other observation that has been mentioned here severally, and it is the issue to do with SHA. Personally, I have members of the public in my constituency who have benefited, and also we are paying for members SHA through NGCDF, Madam Speaker. But then we have noted that there is need for the Ministry of Health and the Social Health Authority to institute a predictable and time-bound claim reimbursement mechanism for healthcare facilities, with priority being given to public health institutions that rely heavily on SHA reimbursement as A in A, Madam Speaker. We have then to make sure that our hospitals at the county levels are reimbursed on time, so that the members of public can then access the much needed health facilities, Madam Speaker, at our counties. And so, as I conclude, it is also important to note that money that has been given for the village elders, it's a stipend, but it is very important because these village elders in our communities do a great job. Lastly, on interns, PAC, there is a provision of 2 billion under the PAC internship program. It is an important one, Madam Speaker. We have many of our children who have finished their university and colleges, and they need to go through internship program, Madam Speaker, and it is important that the government then consider them in a stipend, and the committee has asked the Auditor General to actually audit that these funds be used for that specifically and not for operations, Madam Speaker, so that our interns can serve in an environment that is conducive. Thank you, Madam Speaker. I support.
Thank you very much. Honorable members, in the absence of the Honorable Rindikiri Mugambi, Chair Housing, I'll go direct to the Chair Agriculture, the Honorable Mutunga.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity to also contribute to this adoption of the report by the Committee on Budget and Appropriation on the next year's budget. Honorable Speaker, I wish to thank the committee for the good work they have done and for the considerations that have come, and most of the members have noted those considerations. Honorable Speaker, I would like to take note of the important consideration this time around of the support to the village elders, the ones we call area managers. Honorable Speaker, these people have always been asking us why we are not doing anything about their situation. And it is important to note that this time around, at least this House has looked into their direction and given them some recognition, however meager it is. But Honorable Speaker, from zero to something positive is always good. And it's notable that the budget this year has done that particular support. Honorable Speaker, if I may look at the proportions and address the House on the issues, matters agriculture, Honorable Speaker, agriculture is still not a major priority in this country. It is not one of those areas that are being favored by this budget. Honorable Speaker, we have been around priority number 8. But we forget that agriculture is one of the sectors that provide to the basic needs. And food is basic. Besides food being basic, We will also, in a few minutes, look at how can agriculture really drive this economy. Agriculture, Honourable Speaker, is a key supporter to employment. The greater proportion of those who are employed in this country are employed in the agricultural sector, and that there is immense potential to employ even more. It is one of the main drivers in terms of earning foreign exchange, and Honourable Speaker, it's the key driver to industrialization. This country requires industrialization. I have absolutely no problem with financing education, and I know education is a liberator and an equalizer. I have no problem in doing roads and doing electricity and all the other areas. But Honourable Speaker, as an individual and as a member of this House, I have a problem in a country where we are not focusing on creating jobs. And the easiest way of creating jobs is supporting agriculture. Honourable Speaker, if we give agriculture 3.9%, against a lot of effort by the African Union, through the Comprehensive African Agriculture Development Program, where we have been discussing and negotiating and signing protocols to support agriculture at least 10%, and having evidence from countries like Rwanda, countries like Ethiopia, countries even like Tanzania here, who have given significant support to agriculture and are realizing double-digit growth, then we realize that we are missing the point most of the time. It is important to have very educated people, but it is also very frustrating to have educated people who have no jobs, when you have opportunities to create those jobs. And if you may want to look at it, Honourable Speaker, agriculture is the one that basically will give us sustainable agri-food systems. And for us to have sustainable agri-food systems, a lot of work goes by and jobs are created. Increased public investment can only occur easily in agriculture. This is where almost everyone in the community, almost every Kenyan can invest. Inclusivity of the youth and also generalizing the growth, inclusive growth, can easily happen in agriculture. These are key themes that are integrated in the bottom-up economic transformation agenda. They are key themes that are integrated in the Africa Agenda 2063 for Africa, and they are key themes that are integrated in the Vision 2030 of this country. So they are there, but they are not really responded to effectively. If we take a close look at bottom-up economic transformation agenda, out of the 9 priority areas that are considered as growth areas in that particular agenda, 6 have an agricultural, in fact 7, considering fisheries as it were. They have an agricultural background because blue economy and fisheries basically has been agriculture. So if we look at what support we are giving to the dairy sector, the tea sector, the rice sector, the edible oils, leather, and so on, then we realize that we are not doing enough. Honourable Speaker, without appearing to lament a lot, if we just substituted the imports on edible oils alone, which takes close to 200 billion every year, and if we really worked seriously on substituting total imports on food, which goes up to 522 billion every year, Honourable Speaker, we can do a lot in this particular country. We can create more jobs, we can have very strong systems, and we can also employ a lot of youth. So, Honourable Speaker, agriculture is short of 56 billion. And I would like to correct our chairman. The chairman says agriculture has been sufficiently funded. The chairman of Budget and Appropriation Committee, the agriculture lacks. Out of those, they proposed 135 billion, they were given 79 billion. So they are short of 56 billion. So we start from a shortfall point. And this shortfall has ramifications across the sector. One of the key areas that is seriously affected, in some sectors and some state corporations, they do not even have personal emolument, compensation for staff, compensation for employees. In some of them, money is lacking. If you look at our agricultural research system, it is one of the most affected. Kenyan Agriculture and Livestock Research Organization requires about 500 billion to meet their budget deficit. If we cannot fund our agricultural research systems, then it means we will be poor in terms of technologies, innovations, and management practices. So we cannot be able to drive the agricultural economy as it's supposed to be driven by the others. Honorable Speaker, I've just come from a convention in Bologna, in Rome, in Italy. And this particular convention, Honorable Speaker, was on wheat, and I can confirm to this House that none of the Kenyan scientists attended that particular function. And it was a scientific conference where the global scientists in rice, in wheat, took the floor and discussed what they are doing in various areas of wheat. So we need to look at what we are doing in terms of the issues. Honorable Speaker, the other issue that I would like to bring to the fore is the issue of pending bills. We have pending bills that are accumulating, and I would like to thank the committee and thank the greater effort within the Treasury and government for considering to increase the budget and looking at the issue of improving the funding on fertilizer. The fertilizer subsidy has been demanding around 18 billion. At this time around, Honorable Speaker, we are grateful that at least it's been given that money. But we have a pending bill of around 16 billion again, which needs to be paid. We have pending bills that have been given, demanded at the court level. We have court orders to pay some of the pending bills. A classical example in the livestock sector, we have a pending bill called Halal. It's a common factor within the sector and is an embarrassment to the state. It has been taken to court many times. It has been negotiated out of court. The initial settlement was, the court determination was 6.2 billion, and then there was a negotiation between the government and the owners of the money to bring it down to 4 billion from 6.2. Then we did not pay in time, and then they went back to court and they were awarded 7.2 billion. So this is a pending bill that we need to look at. Honorable Speaker, when it comes to budget implementation, there are so many good ideas that have been put in the budget. We recognize the funding for infrastructure, which is really important for this country, and the fact that most of the stalled projects have already started working. I can speak positively from my background, Honorable Speaker. When it comes to management of the activities after the budget, Treasury needs to pull up their socks in terms of exchequer releases. We have had this issue of exchequer until sometimes, right now, most of the contractors are worried that they may not be paid in the next 27 days because there might not be sufficient exchequer. And also the issue of the debt factor vis-a-vis the budget deficit. As a country, we are increasing in terms of the amount of money, in other the appetite to spend, but we have not done enough. And I want to point out at a case where we are spending a lot of money and we really need to refocus. I'm looking at the area of the CAIPs, the county integrated and aggregation pacts. Honorable Speaker, if you look at the 47 counties and ask yourself the extent to which these CAIPs have hand backward integration into who supplies to the CAIPs and what is going to be supplied, you realize that that particular correlation has not been built. We are at a point where we are funding now installations and equipment of the CAIPs. Honorable Speaker, we need to look at the software a lot more than a lot on the hardware. Honorable Speaker, when we look at the different areas of this country and the potential that we have as a country to actually supply to the industry and the extent to which agriculture supports the economy and the expectations that we should be looking at, where should we be? It would be best for us to be speaking about agriculture supporting the economy at 4% of GDP. But how did the others get there? Is it that they hit gold mine? Is it that they started from basic education and probably infrastructure to arrive at that particular level? Honorable Speaker, the answer is no. They all started from agriculture. We all have done geography, and in our time, we did American geography, where how they reorganized their agriculture and invested in it. Investing in agriculture is investing in people. When you invest in people, you empower everyone to build for to contribute for nation building. And we haven't done sufficient of that. So as we look at the budget, let's be remembering that as long as agriculture has a huge deficit, We can talk of a few projects which are happening in agriculture, and we always insist that they should be spread across the country, and we insist on seeing the listing of the projects and where they are happening, and this, actually, there is a thin spread across the country. But then, when you look at the intensity, you might realize that in a county, you are covering 2 sub-counties, and then maybe 2 wards. So at the end of the day, in a county, you are covering around 4 wards. So it is really not, about 7 or 8 wards. So it is not really happening into the scale. So we need to look at how can we make sure that it will happen to scale. The final thing, Honourable Speaker, I would like to say as I conclude is that as we look at the various value chains in this country, and as Treasury and Kenya Revenue Authority looks at possibilities of generating dividend, and as we do laws in this particular country, let us remember agriculture is the anchor for the people. Let us remember that this is where the Kenyans' livelihoods depend. And let us remember this is a very sensitive area, especially now that we are moving into an election year. Let us be very careful what we do in agriculture. I thank you, Honourable Speaker, and I support.
Thank you. The Honorable Christopher Aseka, member for Kisero.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Let me join also my colleagues in supporting this report by the Budget and Appropriation Committee on Budget Estimate 26-27, which provides that 4.8 trillion is the total budget that the government has presented to this House, out of which, Speaker, 420 billion goes to county governments, 50 billion will do the Parliament, 30 billion to judiciary. Speaker, 1.1 trillion is the declared deficit into this budget. Speaker, let me laud this budget by saying that it has addressed key drivers to bottom-up economical transformation agenda. In agriculture sector, it provisions about 18 billion going to fertilizer subsidy, which will go a long way in addressing food insecurity in our country. On health sector, Madam Speaker, this budget has enhanced the primary healthcare fund by about 19 billion. That will ensure that all of people within the Republic of Kenya will access free, quality healthcare at the level 1, 2, 3 hospitals in our villages. This budget, Honourable Speaker, has also provisioned about 3.5 billion that will go to paying the village elders at a rate of 3,000 shillings per month. We'll be lobbying for more to increase this allocation. Madam Speaker, this budget has also provided resources to confirm close to 20,000 intern teachers who have been working as interns on permanent and pensionable terms. And also, it has provisioned resources to promote our teachers who have stagnated in one position for many years. Honourable Speaker, this budget has also provisioned money for capitation, though the Departmental Committee on Education said there's a deficit of about 57 billion, but I know in Supplementary 1, 57 billion will be provided to ensure that capitation is paid for in full at a rate of 22,000 for our secondary school, or our senior schools, 15,000 for junior secondary school, and even 2,000 for our primary schools. As we debate this, Honourable Speaker, there are issues that have come up out of this budget, and we need to be clear as a House that time has come that we address the challenge of pending bills within our sectors. We should be also asking ourselves that is it time that we declare pending bills as a domestic debt so that we don't subject our suppliers and our contractors to the suffering that they're going through. 2, we need also to address the issue of collection of revenue. 25, 26 treasury projects that there will be a revenue deficit of about 100 billion. We have a 1.1 trillion deficit in 26-27. we need to call KRA to order to ensure that they improve and even increase the tax base to ensure that the collections are up to date. Lastly, Honorable Speaker, is the issue of electronic procurement in government that has really slowed down absorption of resources and even processing of development projects in this republic. Treasury must ensure that this platform works and ensure that all procurements are onboarded on this platform. And I know by so doing, this government will realize a substantive saving that get lost through corruption within this circle. Lastly, Mr. Speaker, we need also to call our partners in Senate to order because time has come that we must ensure that the budget for the two houses reflects the number in the two houses. We need now to address the parliament budget by ensuring that it is as per the number of members of parliament and Senate. I'll be proposing an amendment at the committee of the whole house to ensure that this one is realized. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Clive Gisairo.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. On the onset first, Honorable Speaker.
Very kindly, Honorable Gisairo, let me just recognize these students. I know some of them are leaving. Honorable members, seated in the Speaker's Gallery this morning, we have students from St. George's Girls, Nairobi, from Dagoretti North Constituency, Nairobi County. And also, I would like to recognize students seated in the public gallery this afternoon. Students from St. Teresa Primary School, Embakasi West Constituency, Nairobi County, you are welcome to the National Assembly to continue observing proceedings of the House. You may proceed, Honorable Gisairo.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Right from the onset, Honorable Speaker, I do support the report and the proposals therein. Honorable Speaker, I will dwell on 2 or 3 sectors stated in the report. And first of all, Honorable Speaker, I will start with the education sector. And I also would like, could have wished that Honorable Japheth Nyakundi could have been here because he equally may have not gone through the report despite sitting in that committee. Honorable Speaker, while we say that the budget has increased to 781 billion in the education sector, we also need to be awake and alive to the fact that the student count has also been increasing at the same rate or even at a higher rate than the amounts we're increasing. Honorable Speaker, we have to realize that even the capitation has always been falling short, both for primary schools and the senior school. And with this, if it continues, we are going to have an entire systems collapse because all schools are not able to meet their day-to-day expenses, and the school head teachers and principals are struggling to run the schools and therefore heavily depending on the NGCDF for infrastructure and other kind of support through bursaries. Honorable Speaker, while we say that 56.7 billion has been allocated to the Higher Education Loans Board, this is gross underfunding of that board. Honorable Speaker, right now the board is only able to give money for upkeep for students and not able to send the capitation amount for these students in scholarships and loans that is meant directly to go to the universities themselves. And this has led to universities now accumulating a pending bill of now exceeding 100 billion. Honorable Speaker, this affects the quality in the higher institutions of learning and therefore compromises the quality of graduates that we are releasing to the country. Honorable Speaker, another issue in the education sector is the research allocation of the budget. For any developed country, if we want to reach the dreams that we are having and proclaiming out there, we must have this country invest in research. Honorable Speaker, we are yet to reach even 1% allocation into research of our GDP. As it were, we are gyrating below 0.8%. There is no way we'll become a first world economy if we are not going to put more resources into research and development into the State Department of Research. As long as we keep underfunding that State Department and research in this country, we will continue being a third world country and only hoping for a better country. Honorable Speaker, the Kenya National Examination Council has been given 9.9 billion as per this report. I'm made to understand an extra 1.5 billion will be allocated to give it approximately 11.4 billion. Honorable Speaker, NEC has always been underfunded. Last year alone, they were underfunded by almost 4.2 billion. And this is the reason why examiners are not even being paid on time. And up to date, those who were examined last year have not been paid. Honorable Speaker, this year, they required approximately 14 billion. We are still underfunding them to a point we are actually budgeting to have a pending bill over and above the 4.2. If this trend continues in the next 2 financial years, Kenya National Examination Council will be having pending bills more than their request for that financial year. Honorable Speaker, my ask would have been that we start capitating examination money. The same way we send capitation, money following the student, exam money sent to NEC is not equivalent to the number of students. We just give a round figure, not take into consideration how many students we have sitting for examination. If we use the capitation model, then we'll address the Kenya National Examination Council problems, have invigilators and examiners well paid, and this will improve the quality of exam and exam environment that we have. Otherwise, in the next few years, we'll not have even examiners to examine or invigilate and mark those examinations. Honorable Speaker, when we look at the youth, we do note here that 4.7 billion has been put into the Nyota program. While we all agree that this is a donor-funded program, and it was well-intended, we need also to have statistics, the beneficiaries, and the success rate, which we can independently verify. I heard the chair say that in this county, he has seen success rate. That is commendable. But, Honorable Speaker, I don't have a single case in my constituency. And many members here cannot point to any case, but they will stand and say in their county, we want things that are verifiable, not by the respective leaders of that area, but any member, because this is public funds. Any member of the public should be able to verify that this is the success story and this is what these monies are doing. Otherwise, we'll end up in the same direction of the Hustler Fund, which we do not know who are the beneficiaries, at what rate they've grown, what is the success rate, and something that we can verify. I would request that I don't be interrupted after sitting here for all those hours. I will not be added. I have not spoken anything out of order.
Well,
Honorable Speaker.
Chair, you requested for a point of order or point of information?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Is it a point of order, Chairman?
Point of information.
You know, if it's a point of information, I'm going to ask the honorable member whether he is willing to be informed.
I'm not willing to be informed.
So if
because
he's not
I'm
willing to be
properly
informed, unfortunately,
and
I'll
the
ask
chair,
him to
I'm actually
continue.
done informing the chair.
Thank you.
So, Honorable Speaker, what we are saying is, while these funds are going to the youths, something that we as leaders will not have a problem supporting, we will need to be able to see the success story behind these people without being read by the chair telling us that it's successful without any supporting evidence. Honorable Speaker, we've allocated 12.5 billion to support youth training at the National Youth Service, NYS. Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Gisero, I have a point of order from the chair budget. So proceed and prosecute your point of order. What is out of order, Honorable Chairperson for budget?
What I was trying to tell the Honorable Member Clive is that on Nyota, Nyota is not a selective program. It is a program that is conducted in each and every constituency, the 290 constituencies in Kenya. So I think it is not in order for the honorable member to claim that in his constituency there is no single program of Nyota. If you lack information, I'll be able to provide for you that details of who are the beneficiaries in your constituency. Thank you.
Honorable Speaker,
That's a valid point of
that's
order
the interruption
from,
I requested, not to have.
From a point of, speaking from a point of fact.
Because
So it's a
that is
valid
not
point
what
of
I
order.
said. What I said, Honorable Speaker, is that I do not have the detail that I can verify. I did not say there is no beneficiary. As I said, Honorable Speaker, the chair just his intention is to disrupt me. Let him also be attentive and listen to the proceedings keenly by putting his phone aside. Honorable Speaker, we've allocated 12.5 billion to NYS. Honorable Speaker, this can be a very productive program. But if you notice nowadays, no youths are interested in attending the recruitment process of NYS. The reason being, we do not give these young people the end game of attending the NYS. Why do the security agencies, while they need to recruit, why not go to NYS records and pick the students who benefited from NYS and automatically transition them to the security agencies? This will encourage young people to join the NYS and learn from it. And that will get more youths off the streets to join NYS, get proper training to become patriots and productive in this country. So, Honorable Speaker, I hope I'll be added a few seconds, courtesy of Honorable Atandi. Lastly, Honorable Speaker, the confirmation of the 20,000 is underwhelming. Going by the court cases, I felt that we should have confirmed the entire 44,000, just in case the ruling goes against the TSC, which will render the
Give him a minute because of the interruptions.
Thank you. The assertion government has 100,000 from 50,000, 44 in economy, 76,000 in chair. Honorable Speaker,
Thank you, Madam Speaker. This is a very important annual program that we all need to be given a time to explain to the Kenyans, because I believe we are not talking to ourselves, we are talking to the Kenyans. Madam Speaker, I join my colleagues in applauding the successful presentation by the chairman and the entire committee on budget. Madam Speaker, my keen interest is on the State Department of Housing and Urban Planning and Public Works. Madam Speaker, I heard a member state that housing is not a priority for the Kenyan budget, but I am here to remind anybody with that kind of thought that housing is an aspect that is anchored in our Constitution. And I want to applaud the bold step the ruling party and the ruling government has taken to implement the housing programs. Madam Speaker, on the budget 1094, you will notice that there are key things that we are targeting to achieve in the following financial year. Madam Speaker, let's not lose sight that housing is not only providing shelter, but it's also a source of employment. Madam Speaker, we have direct and indirect employment as a result of the housing programs that we are developing. Madam Speaker, it's a skills transfer opportunity. Madam Speaker, we have about 4,500 interns right now who are in various sites where we are doing housing programs, ESP market, institutional housing, Nairobi Laborers programs, and also the civil servants housing units. These are gaining experience, and we believe that at the end of it all, the employment of our youth will improve, and equipping them with the right technology. Madam Speaker, we are requesting for support, and the committee...
I see 2 points of order here, one by the Honorable Harrison Kombe and the Honorable Ndindi Nyoro. I'm assuming that you guys are intending to speak? Okay. You may continue, Chair.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. We are also, through housing, it is causing an indirect spell economic improvement programs, particularly manufacturing, transport, etc. So, Madam Speaker, really, the ones who are bringing down the issue of housing, they really don't understand the concept of housing. Madam Speaker, we have over 790 ongoing projects associated with housing. Madam Speaker, there are so many counties or constituencies that have not been covered. So we made a presentation, Madam Speaker, that we consider that we don't slow the pace of these projects. Because, Madam Speaker, if we slow, we will slow the aspect of housing, employment, and also the other consequential effect which come as a result of housing. Madam Speaker, we have had a conversation with the chairman of budget, and we have agreed on the way forward because we are requesting for 150 billion, which includes about 50 billion that will come from the sales of housing, and another 100 billion which will come through securitization. But, Madam Speaker, we have agreed on the way forward. We have consulted the Treasury, and therefore, because I'm not many people are going to look and find out what really happened, we have agreed on the way forward on that. So I want to applaud the committee for taking that initial step. Madam Speaker, the issue of equity, and when we're talking about the issue of equity and equality, Madam Speaker, there are counties which haven't benefited from this, from the housing levy fund. And it is our view that those counties are given opportunity. So when we are asking for additional funding, we really know exactly what those countries which are not covered. And Madam Speaker, if you go to Mombasa, Nairobi, the biggest cities, that's where the largest amount of housing demand is. And we cannot put our hands under the sun. So we must continue with this program. We must continue to have it funded. I have the privilege of being in Mombasa, and you can see all the housing units that have been put in Mombasa, Kirifi, and Kwale. They have all been applied for, and actually the demand is doubling. So we will continue developing the housing sector. Madam Speaker, there is also the institutional housing, which is going towards creation of accommodation for the students. Not every student is down from large families. So we feel that this is going to enhancing the student accommodation. The civil servant also. The Nairobi Labour Commission, Madam Speaker, is doing a great job. And I want to ask the members, please support this budget, because majority of the amount that we are putting on the metropolitan and the urban and metropolitan money is going towards Nairobi Labour's development. We are not talking about Nairobi Labour, we are talking about Nairobi Labourers. So, and it is a support system in the chain of housing. So you really cannot separate the two because we are doing the market and we are doing the housing next door. And we are developing that infrastructure so that it will be a comprehensive program. And in any case, we are improving our environment. Madam Speaker, the issue of KISIP and the KUSIP, which falls under our department, we are requesting for 500 million to go towards completion as a government commitment. Unfortunately, this was not considered, but again, we have since agreed with the Treasury on the way forward, and I want to thank the committee for looking at that as a special case because, Madam Speaker, we have, particularly in KUSIP, we have 79 municipalities, and the 2 of them are the ones that are funded by donors. That is Dadaab and Kakuma. We have in good terms with our donors, and we don't want to disappoint them, but because of the economic situations and the source of revenue, it has been agreed that we will look at the supplementary point. Madam Speaker, and I want to thank the committee for listening to our prayer of trying to ensure that this State Department is not crippled. Madam Speaker, this is the department that does the supervision of many programs the government is doing in housing and also the coast line infrastructure. So we want to thank the committee because they have looked and agreed that we need more money, and they have handed to us about 128 million shillings towards these programs. Madam Speaker, I will not finish without touching that overall the budget is good, but my emphasis, I would like more money put in education, just like everybody has said. The government has really tried very much. The volume of money that we have seen increase for the last 3 years. And the demand is also increasing. But really, let's say something positive has been done. Madam Speaker, we have issues of capitation. Madam Speaker, we have issues of recruitment of teachers, which we are seeing increase over the years, and we really want to encourage that more money is put in this program. We also would like all the institutions to have the correct infrastructure, Madam Speaker. We have to create a situation learning environment, and therefore the government should continue putting more money on the education sector besides the capitation. Madam Speaker, I am concerned about the equipping of the ICT hubs, which majority of these members are put up. Bore, we have put 6 of them. We have put the fittings, fixtures and fittings. We are now waiting for the computers. I hope and believe even some of these reductions I've seen, they have taken into account the supply or equipping of the computers now that majority of these members are waiting for. Madam Speaker, this is very key because of employment of our youth. And secondly, we want to create self-employment opportunities. Madam Speaker, the other issue, and I want to congratulate this Parliament and this committee for taking a lot of keen interest on the health sector. And Madam Speaker, I learned a statement that Kenyan Parliament has passed a very important bill. That bill should be accompanied with serious financing. Because everywhere they cry right now is health, 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 health. So I am happy to note that the government is really very keen on this aspect also. Madam Speaker, before I finish, let me point out this. There are some areas that are not equally represented. And I must point out, particularly in the areas of water and electricity. Going forward, I think that's the most important thing, is the budget committee should try as much as possible to have resources, the thin resources, distributed as much as possible across the counties, and particularly the areas that have been marginalized for a long time. So, Chairman, budget, I think we'll be watching very keenly because we don't want to go backward and finding some areas are getting more and others are getting less. With those few remarks, Madam Speaker, I support and ask that going forward, let's be our brother's keeper. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Honorable members seated in the public gallery this afternoon, we have students from Muvuti Boys School from Machakos constituency, Machakos County. And we also have seated in the speakers gallery this afternoon, students from Mount Kinangop Girls School from Kinangop constituency, Nyandarua County. You are welcome to the National Assembly to continue observing proceedings of the House. The Honorable David Ndakwa, member for Malava.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I also want to rise and support this budget estimates for the year 2026-27, while proposing great allocation of resources in the areas that directly improve the lives of our people. First of all, Madam Speaker, I give my congratulations to the Budget Committee led by our able chair, Honorable Atandi, for giving us a credible document that we look into and make some observations. Madam Speaker, I draw my attention to this House on the important role played by the area elders in this country. Madam Speaker, these are men and women who are always gotten on the first point, the first online, first in resolving family disputes with the little capacity in understanding law, but using their wisdom, security without sophisticated machineries, and also the social challenges, Madam Speaker, that are within our communities. Looking at land disputes, where they have no law to understand, but they make it to a reality by resolving the conflicts. Madam Speaker, looking at the peace of our society, the fabrics is very delicate. They always bring our societies together in the name of cohesion. And they also try to tackle society and grassroots governance. Madam Speaker, they have been doing a lot without any stipends in terms of monetary allocation. And to them, it has been no facilitation at all, but they have been dedicated to their duties. I like to give credit to the government and the budget committee for coming out in their own wisdom and feel that they provide a regular stipend, which should be structured 3K per month as a recognition for their service to this nation. That one, I must say, it's the realization where myself come up with a motion for to have something advanced. Speaker, I want to thank the youth investment of this.
Honorable Dakwa. Interest, the Honorable Joshua Mwali, Honorable Harrison Kombe, Honorable Joshua. Meli and Honorable Zamzam for Mombasa. We encourage you to come when it's next scheduled. Honorable members, the Honorable Ndakwa will have 6 minutes to continue debate on this. Honorable members, and the time now being 1 p.m., this House stands adjourned until Wednesday, 3rd June 2026 at 2:30 p.m.